Yeah, hello, everybody. How are we doing? And let's modify our screen capture, because apparently it's deciding that I'm the best thing that we can possibly show here. Instead of mini-me, we have two of me. This is getting out of hand. There we go. And I guess we should remove chat box for a moment. How's everybody doing today? Don't know what to expect from here. To be honest, I've played part of 7, watched most of 7, and that's about it for Magic content. Or in terms of Final Fantasy content. I've played Magic for years at this point. But yeah, uh, you may have noticed that it's in this screen right now, only because I cannot full screen. Hopefully that will change. Also, not gonna full screen. I can crop it once we get to full screen. I just want to make sure that the black bars at the bottom and top will be movable once I go into the full screen mode. Did attempt to get a guest, a co-host, if you will. Did not work out. Not to worry, however. I can still be your singular source of entertainment. High hopes for Cloud and Sephiroth. Sephiroth, probably one of my favorite characters, probably one of many people's favorite characters. Had the luck to see Advent Children in theaters fairly recently. But yeah, got, 11 minutes till debut. Hopefully, we got a pretty sick trailer as well. Good luck to those trying to get a collector booster box of this set, though. From what I've seen, they're, 7 minutes. I didn't totally just look at the chat where it said 11 minutes and then put 7 in front of that. Yeah, collector booster box looking to be around, $800 for, what, 12 packs? Yeah. We're in a bit of a pickle, aren't we? There are definitely some cards already I'm looking forward to. I think we could probably show some of them here. Tola, definitely a commander I'm looking to build. Same for Terra. Hopefully I'll be able to get those singles a lot cheaper than the commander decks. These are cool, but not really anything I'm looking for. I do have an all-anime commander deck helmed by Child of Alara that I would like to get some of these anime arts for. Shiva, I'm sad Shiva didn't make rare or mythic. Sin's okay. Emmett Silk is okay. We had some more spoilers a couple, not too long ago. Catch Fish is great. This art of Shiva is great. It's a shame that she only got uncommon. Cecil might go into my 5-color Joda deck, but not sure. Zell's okay. Jumbo Cactar is overhyped. I know somebody's going to be mad at that. This one, eh. I mean, they had to put a bunch of people at uncommon and stuff because of just how many legends there are in this, but yeah, Sin's okay. Cloud, and I mean, these are the beginner ones. Celis is okay. Obviously, Terra. I'll probably try to get him just so I can get the. Also, yeah, definitely gonna be trying for the extended art of Ishtola, and no, I'll probably try to go for these arts because they fit in the anime deck at the very worst scenario. Also, canonical soda and magic now. Let's go. Though there probably was an example of that before. I can definitely see Ishtala being a CDH commander. I don't know about the rest of these. 9 minutes till start. And there's at least one. There's a couple other cards that got spoiled. MTG Final Fantasy spoilers. Final Fantasy visual spoil. There we go. No, I mean there were definitely some official spoilers. They just don't have it here. Goldfish, do you have them? Oh yeah, so we got these. Here we are. Dark Confidant being in standard for the first time in literally forever. And Ishtala Rule seems like a good combo piece in Commander, but a 5-mana 3/5 gonna make it really difficult. Shintoto, I feel like could go in the Balmor deck. Also, we have Secret Rendezvous, which they added for I guess every character from 7 in the Commander decks. If I pick up any of these, it'll probably be the Tifa and the Aerith one. And Sephiroth the Savior, something I haven't looked at. Oh, it's just Atraxa. Yeah. Also, I guess that means that canonically Sephiroth is Phyrexian. Let's go. Also, I do find it kind of funny that the flavor text for these almost synergizes, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It's beautiful, isn't it? Good old Tifa and Aerith. All right. So, how are we doing? We got 7 minutes till start. How's everybody doing in the chat? What are y'all looking forward to? Any game in particular? Any person? As we sit here with the other 4,099 waiting people. Five minutes and 30 seconds till start. Traditionally, I do have chat up for my streams. However, it's been taken down and hidden for now, just due to the fact that the chat box would typically take up a lot of the screen. And when we go into full screen in particular, it's going to be, easier than not to just go this way. Four minutes. Surely everything will work out fine. I do hope that this set does not. The individual cards, I hope, are going to be easier to get than having to buy, because you've got collector boosters at 160. I've seen, or you've got collector boosters at 600 to 800. I've seen regular boosters going for around 140 to some people. I've even seen out of them at 800. So hopefully that means that you'll still be able to get access to the uh, product in single form without everything being ridiculously expensive. Obviously, I think like Sephiroth is going to be incredibly expensive. The Atraxa version, because I think that's still like a $30 to $40 card right now, give or take. I am most excited for 7. It'd be interesting to see what they do with X/X2. I started that game, never finished it. Unpopular opinion, but I'm not a huge fan of Final Fantasy. I think it's 14 is the online one. But everything will work out. And then this comes out, I think, next month, June 13th. So we have 30 days of fun in between. Looking at the comments, I wouldn't hate if they made a non-summon Shiva card where it's just Shiva. That could be a rare mythic, then I'd be okay with the summon being uncommon. One minute 15. Waiting for Magic the Gathering. I'll also say this is the most hyped I've been for a set in quite some time. I don't even know what the last time I've been super hyped for a set was. Probably pre Lord of the Rings, because at that point I hadn't watched Lord of the Rings, so I wasn't really attached to anybody. Maybe wasn't really hyped for Zendikar Rising either. Probably pre the Phyrexian arc as well, if I'm being honest. Maybe it was Kaladesh, maybe Amonkhet. A lot of the most recent stuff has just been insert character, here's a hat. Like, Karlov Manor was detective hats, Outlaws was cowboy hats. Ether Drift was everybody's eraser. And that limited environment was really weird with all the vehicles you had to build around. Don't think I ever had a winning record on that. Fun fact. And also, yeah, we don't know if there's going to be any like face cards, serialized cards. A Final Fantasy. Oh, looks like we're very quickly going up. 8,090 waiting. Yeah, we already know what Tifa. Well, we know what Tifa's commander card's gonna look like. Standard, I hope she's a powerhouse. I don't know. For some reason, her going Naya was. I don't know. Sephiroth being blue black making sense. Tifa. I guess red green white would be canonically the best pairing for. I don't know what Aerith would be. She gives me cleric vibes, so I would go white. Blue white, maybe? No, blue white's like an Azorius kind of law thing. I don't think Aerith is particularly law everything. I think Cloud, obviously, looking at this, is mono white. It started on Twitch. I mean, at this point, this one's gonna start, so. A wizard is never late. We shall sit here and wait as we watch. Half the show already over on Twitch. No, half the show's not. It would have started at the same time. Amazing how impatient people are on the YouTube side of things in the comment section. In fact, go away, YouTube comment section. Oh, look. Alright, let's see what all the hype has been about and if it's worth it.
マジック、そしてファイナルファンタジーに愛を注いでくださった全ての皆様のおかげで今日という特別な日を迎えることができました。昨年10月の先行公開映像、今年2月のファーストルックとここまで長い旅路を共に歩んできましたが、ついに本日さらなる情報を皆様にお届けいたします。このセットはマジックとファイナルファンタジーを愛し続け、お互いが真剣に向かい続けたからこそこの素晴らしい形にできたものだと思っています。今回でファイナルファンタジーシリーズに初めて触れるマジックファンの皆様、このセットに登場するカードたちはファイナルファンタジーのストーリーやキャラクターらしさをしっかりと捉えた上でマジックのルールの中で再構築されています。たとえファイナルファンタジーを知らなくてもマジックでの冒険をお楽しみいただけるはずです。そしてマジックに初めて触れるというファイナルファンタジーファンの皆様、プレイされたことがない方は RPG でパーティーを組むイメージをしてください。マジックにおけるデッキは RPG のパーティーと同じで、ちょっと工夫を凝らすだけでどんな相手にも有効な戦術を見出すことができます。ぜひお近くの店舗などに足を運んでみてください。きっとお気に入りの1枚が見つかるはずです。そして最後は私のような両方のゲームを愛する方へ、もうすぐ私たちが夢に見た瞬間が訪れます。皆様大変お待たせいたしました。 It's showtime!Let's step into the world of Magic the Gathering and Final Fantasy!
Here we go!
Okay, it's time to meet the team. He's a principal game designer on Magic the Gathering. You might know him best as the host of Good Morning Magic. He's also been the lead designer on sets like Battle Bond, Mystery Booster, and most recently of all,
Gavin.
Yes, Final Fantasy. He is Gavin Verhey!
Oh, American. Red, white, and blue.
Thank you. Gavin, what's your favorite Final Fantasy?
Well, that would be Final Fantasy IX. Whoa. Some true fans in the house out here tonight.
The war starts here. Okay, our next panelist is known for his work as the product architect of the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, universes beyond Fallout, universes beyond...
Why we lagging? Why we lagging?
Assassin's Creed and Bloomberg. He is also the executive producer of Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. He is the one and only Zakeel Gordon.
Let's refresh real quick. Looks like we are having a bit of lag. There we go.
I actually think, there we go, we're good. What's your favorite Final Fantasy?
My favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy X.
Where are the 7 lovers at?
Did Final Fantasy X get a bigger shout out than Final Fantasy 9? Can I hear my 9 fans again? Can I hear my 9 fans? Can I hear my 10 fans? That's crazy, guys. That's crazy. Okay. Next up, he's a senior game designer of Magic the Gathering, probably best known for his work on Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. He is also responsible for mechanical frame and icon design across all sets. He is the lead game designer for Final Fantasy Commander decks. He is Daniel Holt.
What's up, Kupo?
Here we go, the big question. Everyone's waiting for it. What is your favorite Final Fantasy?
Like Zakeel, it is Final Fantasy X-2. That is 10, 2.
Girls trip for life, baby. Right, here we go. He's principal narrative game designer for Universes Beyond creative team. He's worked on Fallout Commander decks, leads the upcoming Avatar: The Last Airbender set, and was the narrative lead for Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy. It's Dylan Devaney.
Oh my God.
One of these people.
Look at everyone. Game is none other than Final Fantasy IV. Yeah,
What in the world is happening with all these cuts?
That's right.
A lot of old school connoisseurs just got very excited there. So here we are at the start of our journey. Final Fantasy I, the Magna Carta of video games, something that quite literally changed the landscape of gaming forever. Dylan, tell us the story.
When darkness veils the world, 4 warriors of one features the prophesized warriors of light as they embark on this adventure across time and space. Right, as the player, you can select from 4 of 6 possible jobs to become your Warriors of Light. And your first deadly challenge as the Warriors of Light are to take on none other than Garland, Knight of Cornelia.
We already know who this is from spoilers.
Though Garland is keen to knock you down, the 4 Warriors of Life are triumphant, and they defeat their first adversary. But they incidentally create a paradoxical time loop that puts them in the deadly foes of none other than Chaos. Chaos! This game lays the foundation for many of the iconic elements we're going to see across all of the 16 mainline games. Things like prophecies and crystals, the job system, overworld exploration, random encounters, leveling up, high-stakes adventures, airships, you name it. This is where we firmly plant our foot and decide this is what Final Fantasy is going to become.
So, Gavin, jobs and classes, how did you do that?
Yeah, we knew from the very
Well, we know-
beginning we needed to have a way to show off the job.
Let's do a pause here. White mage to staff, 2-mana equipment, common, job select. When it enters, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token that attaches to it. Okay. So this is just for Mirrodin, but they toned it down a bit, is what I'm getting from this. Yes. I mean, it makes sense that's how they'd reskin it.
Time and came up with the idea of a brand new mechanic that looks a little like an older mechanic called the job select. So this shows up on equipment throughout the set. And when the equipment comes into play, you make a 1/1 hero token, and then you attach the equipment to it. So if you know Magic, you might recognize this as, say, Living Weapon or for Mirrodin. Living Weapon makes 0/0s, for Mirrodin makes 2/2s. There's a number between those two, which is 1/1. So we went for that here. Now, they all confer abilities, as you can see, that are really keen to what the class is doing. The White Mage Staff heals you, the Black Mage's Rod pings your opponent. But the other thing that's worth calling out in particular is they also confer the type that class or job has. So the White Mage's Staff turns you into a Cleric, the Black Mage's Rod turns you into a Wizard, and so on. Just has a little flavor nod happening right there. We grabbed all the job select cards in this set from Final Fantasy I and Final Fantasy XIV, which you might see some of later.
Oh, what a tease. Thank you, all four of you, but I do believe it is time to meet the last member of our panel. She is an art director on Magic the Gathering. She's worked on Universes Beyond sets such as Assassin's Creed, Doctor Who, and of course, Final Fantasy. Joining us on video, it's Stephanie Chung.
Hey Pax East, I'm so excited to share our next card with you. Long before I ever played my first game in the Final Fantasy series, I was already obsessed with their iconic character designs. It was influence on my own journey as an artist and deepened my love for video games. So I think you'll all agree that it wouldn't be Final Fantasy if we didn't include art from the legendary Yoshitaka Amano. And what better way to celebrate his influence and incredible talent than his original Cloud Sea Djinn? This incredible piece is featured in a showcase frame you've seen before. The transparent frame allows us to show off the art with minimal distractions from mechanics and text. You can really immerse yourself and truly appreciate the details of Amano's mark making and masterful washes of ink. This piece is a great example of his iconic style, especially with the incredible way he balances negative space. From the pale clouds contrasting the dark figure of the Djinn, to the flow of details from the Djinn's hand, cascading around the party and spilling into the clouds around them. The card also isn't anything to sneeze at. Nyxbloom Ancient is a flashy card that is a dream for any Stompy deck.
Thank you.
I'm surprised they went for a Nyxbloom Ancient when there are plenty of Djinn in Magic that could have been.
And now we are underway. We are done with one. Let's move on to Final Fantasy II. This is a more high fantasy, expanding and iterating on the ideas that were laid down in one, without many radical changes. Zakil, take us through this.
Yeah, absolutely. So Final Fantasy II is tonally very similar in creative tone. The main difference lies in a game mechanic called weapon skill, which is based on your proficiency as you yield weapons in battle and gain experience throughout the game. So it only makes sense for the main character of Final Fantasy II, Firion, to interact with equipment. So let's take a look.
Legendary creature, human. Oh, rebel. That's relevant. And also, warriors makes this potentially good in late in Nagila. Equipped creatures you control have haste. Whenever non-token equipment you control enters, create a token that's a copy of it, except it has this equipment's equipabilities, costs 2 less to activate. Sacrifice that token at the beginning of the next upkeep. That's interesting. There's definitely a few ways that that can probably be broken, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. It makes swords fairly interesting, but beyond that.
Firion is a 3-mana 3/3 that equipped creatures you control have haste, and whenever another equipment comes into the battlefield, you create a copy of that, and it has the ability to cost 2 less to equip. So we just showed you White Mage's Rod. If you have this in play and cast that, not only do you get another copy of that equipment, but you also get another 1/1 hero. And then similarly, the next card on our Final Fantasy Through the Ages bonus sheet is SRAM. Red-white, of course, is a prolific archetype within Magic.
Another Yoshitaka Amano. Nice.
And we think this is a brand new way to be able to collect beautiful artwork by Yoshitaka Amano and play both of these copies of Firion alongside each other on the battlefield.
Thank you very much. And also, thank you for everyone here right now who's oohing and ahhing in exactly the right places. It really validates all their work. So thank you so much. I am eager to see more cards, and it's written down here. It says, I am as eager as a beaver. Gavin, explain yourself.
All right,
Let's
so
commune with
I
beavers.
want to give a big shout out to Yanni Skalnick, who led the early vision design of the set. And when he handed it off to me, there's a card in there called Commune with Beavers. And I was like, Yanni, you got to tell me what's going on with this card. And he told me the story about talking with beavers, get the information that you need. And I was like, we have to preserve this. So it stayed the whole way through the entire life cycle of this set. Now, to me, this is a great blending of Magic and Final Fantasy, because a commune spell in Magic.
Top 3 artifact creature landed to hand. Guys speak beaver.
Looks like your top few cards for a card, and so it kind of blends the flavor of Final Fantasy, the name Commune with Beavers, with a Magic effect, where of course it looks like your top few cards for a beaver or any other creature you might want to have around. So just a simple little common, but kind of gets at the whimsy that Final Fantasy has, right? There's a lot of epic fights and incredible monsters, and also sometimes just guy speaks beaver, you know? And that's the important part of this moment here on this card.
I like to think that we all speak beaver. Moving swiftly on. We're moving on from 2 to, guess what, number 3. Final Fantasy III. It's worth remembering that both 2 and 3 didn't release in the US until years later. But there is one thing that kind of remains true, which is the defining iconography of the crystals. Dylan, walk us through this.
Yeah, I'm really happy you brought up crystals, right? We're going to talk about crystals a lot throughout the show, and it is a signature element of Final Fantasy. So in Final Fantasy III, our characters are going to go on a journey, the Onion Knights that become the Warriors of Light, go on a journey to bring balance to the elemental crystals across the land, just as the Golgan people prophesized. And so we were talking about how we were going to bring this element into Magic the
4 mana legendary artifact, the Darkness Crystal. Legendary artifact, black spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. If a non-token creature an opponent controls would die, exile, and you gain 2 life. 6 mana and tap, put target creature card exile with the Darkness Crystal onto the battlefield tapped under your control with 2 additional counters on it. I think this is doing a whole lot, and it still won't see a ton of play because it's a bit expensive for those effects. You're getting a semi-better... No, actually, a semi-worse Leyline of the Void, which can cost 4 mana or free. You get a Jet Medallion, and you get a really expensive reanimation that's targetable instead of, having a genuine selection. So yeah, I'd say probably not going to see a ton of play, but maybe I'm wrong.
Gathering, and we decided that, well, there's 4 elemental crystals, and there are the dark crystals in the malevolent world of darkness. Perhaps we smell a cycle. So let's take a little bit more look at the Darkness Crystal. Daniel, I want to hear about the tiny crystal we see here.
Yeah, as Dylan mentioned, crystals are so prominent within Final Fantasy that it only made sense when working on the set symbol that was the first spot we went. You'll see the Chocobo later in Commander. We'll talk about that when we get there. But you can see this rarity symbol here is the crystal. Gavin, you want to talk about the card?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as was mentioned earlier, well, there's the nice booster fun version. And by the way, what I was about to say, there's 5 crystals in the set, 1 for each color, and they all have a cool booster fun version like this you can go collect. Now, they are a 5-card cycle, 1 for each color. They all cost 4 mana. They're all legendary artifacts. They all make spells of that color cost 1 less. But the rest of them is a little unique depending on what that crystal does. They've got a big activated ability of some kind, a cool static ability. I'll let all of you start speculating now. But the crystals, you're going to want to try and get all of them on your side.
So Gavin, earlier you mentioned starting towns. I believe right now you have a new land to show us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of course, if you're playing Final Fantasy, there's, once again, these huge epic battles, but you also want some simple little concepts, especially at common, like this Adventurer's Inn. So this is a
Radiant Fountain.
land subtype. This is a
town.
You find towns all throughout the set in Final Fantasy, the many places and locations that you end up at. If you've played Ravnica before, it's kind of like gates, where there are some cards that key into what towns do. It doesn't have any inherent meaning. And there's a lot of lands ranging from simple commons all the way up to rares, and maybe, just maybe, we might see a rare one later on. But here you go, a nice little Adventurer's Inn. Of course, what would an inn do? But give you back a couple life. Take a nice rest. If you've got the money for it, get those 2 life.
So that's a lovely little taste of Final Fantasy III. Let's move on to Final Fantasy IV. Dylan, you have been waiting for this moment.
Yes, I have. Thank you. Also, I really love that, and I needed that. So thank you. So yes, I would love to talk about my personal favorite Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy IV holds a very, very special place in my heart because I think it was the first time I really discovered what narrative game design was and the power of the medium when I was very, very young on my Super Nintendo. The journey that Cecil goes through, starting as a Dark Knight, wielding very wicked power in service to the potentially corrupt King of Baron. He goes on this journey of redemption to become a paladin of light. And we were talking about this story, and I was telling Gavin, I was like, listen, this story meant a lot to me because in the game, right, you have this amazing Dark Knight sprite, you go to Mount Ordeals, you claim your sword, and you become a paladin, and then you have to fight yourself in this 1v1 battle to come to terms with your darkness, slay your inner evils, and truly become a paladin. And so this story was so important to me personally. It's something that made me fall in love with Final Fantasy, and it was a story that we, I think, did a pretty good job of.
Yeah, and we brought the story to life. We're trying to figure out how to tell this story, and one of the tools we have in this set are double-sided cards, right? So you see these double-faced cards here with Cecil, where he starts off as the Dark.
I will say, despite having seen this card already, the thing that will make this good is that it is a 1-mana 2/3 with Death Touch, with a downside that is definitely exploitable. I don't know if Death Shadow would want this, but obviously, actually, I don't think Death Shadow would want this because of the flip side of being lifelink. But yeah, I can definitely see this being very good in certain decks, especially in Standard, where I think it'll be a powerhouse.
Dark Knight, and then transforms into the Redeemed Paladin. Final Fantasy has so many moments for villains and heroes alike where they undergo these great transformations, and there's several double-faced cards in the set that do just that, where you get to see the characters evolve before your very eyes. And also on screen here, you'll see that gorgeous Booster Fun version of Cecil, which is really, really, really neat. And I'm so glad we were able to capture this. I was inspired by Death's Shadow, if any of you Magic players out there know that card, to make a card that dealt damage to you, and then
Death Shadow, I wouldn't know anything about that.
Life linker and start gaining that life right on back. But Cecil is not the only card.
I love everyone here so much.
Cecil is not the only card that we wanted to design from Final Fantasy IV, and a character that posed a lot of trouble for me was...
Huh. Alright, to those listening and unable to watch, Kain Traitorous Dragoon is 2 and a black for a 2/4 legendary creature human knight. With jump, during your turn, Kain has flying. And whenever Kain deals combat damage to a player, that player gains control of Kain. If they do, you draw that many cards, create that many treasure tokens, then lose that much life. If you can put this in like a artifact or a counters deck where you can get his power really up there, it's the fact that treasure tokens are tapped is annoying, but honestly it makes sense. Otherwise you could really pop off on a turn, and they had to balance it. But you draw that many cards and you get that much treasure. That's pretty good. I don't know if it's going to be better than things like Splicer for CEDH, but definitely something cool here.
Was Kain. I kept trying to design Kain. I couldn't.
Also, very good with Homeward Path, which makes it so you get your creatures back. Just saying.
Not figure out how to do it. And then one day, Dylan sends me something.
I was like, Gavin, I don't want to snoop in, I don't want to step on your toes, but I really like this game, I really like this character, I have a pitch that I'm going to send you, and he was very nice enough to read it, he went over it, and he looked at me and he was like, yeah, let's do it. And so we kind of moved forward to trying to capture one of Kain's most complicated story elements. If you are a fan of this game, or if you've played this game, you felt the same heartbreak and betrayal that I did when you went up into that boss battle and you're like, wait, what do you mean he left my party? What do you mean he's fighting for Golbez? Where is he going? And so we wanted to capture that sense at the table when you play it. So I had this idea, maybe he defects, maybe he passes around. There is the story of the treasure tokens being the crystals you're collecting. I was very happy with it, and Gavin was kind enough to link it into the rest of the file, which I'm very appreciative, by the way.
And I want to call out, this is Dylan's first ever Magic card published. So big hand for Dylan right here.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much.
His childhood favorite character as a card. That's pretty cool.
Right, let's move on. It's time for Final Fantasy V. And whilst we do, Okay, good for you. That's nice. Not many, but good for you. As we head on to Final Fantasy V, obviously a very, very beloved game, I want us to take a step back and figure out, well, explain to us how you arrived at the overall shape of this set.
Yeah, so that's a monumental question and a very good one of how did we fit 16 Final Fantasy games into one set. There are a lot of characters, there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of games, magic, spells, items, abilities, lands, adventures, quests, mini-games, songs, and how do we put it all into one thing? We needed something early on to help make decisions. So if you can imagine the four of us in a room at the Wizards of the Coast office with a locked door, we made a conspiracy board on the wall, we opened up an Excel sheet, we got the whiteboard, and we wrote down every game, and we just said, okay, what do you remember about Final Fantasy I? Go way back in the archives, go deep in the tank. What do you remember loving about this game? And we did that for 2, 3, all the way up for every single game. And then when we were done with that, weeks later, we went to our fellow wizards in the office, and I asked everyone the same intense line of questioning. And then when we were done with that, weeks later, we went to Square Enix, and we talked to the game producers and the designers and the developers, and we were like, what were you very proud of with your game? What is very special about the title that you worked on? What is the thing that you would want everyone to see once again? And once we had all of that, we were able to start our process. So from there, we kind of made this internal tier system, tiers 1, 2, and 3, to help us make decisions. These weren't like, oh, these are the best and these are the worst. These are just, we need to make some decisions along the way. Some characters will be here, some characters won't be here. So tier 1, we decided was, these are the things that have to be here. These are the DNA of Final Fantasy. So Chocobos, Moogles, they absolutely have to be there. You expect to see them, so you're gonna see them. Tier 2 are the, hey, if you're a fan of a very specific game, you're gonna recognize it. Maybe it's an iconic mini game, or an NPC that you really fell in love with, or a super boss you spend many hours losing against, like me. And then tier 3 was the super duper crunchy deep cut. This is for the nerds. No way you spent time and money to get that in. Yes, we did. We had to do that. And so I really look forward to all of you, and I challenge all of you to go through and find the tier 3s that we snuck in there across the set.
Okay then, Dylan.
Gilgamesh.
Which tier is this cheeky boy in?
Gilgamesh is clearly the top tier. This is a recurring.
Gilgamesh, Master at Arms, is a 6 mana for 4 and 2 red, 6/6 legendary creature human samurai. Whenever Gilgamesh enters or attacks, look at the top 6 cards of your library. And you put any number of equipment cards from among them on the battlefield. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in any order. One or more equipment is put onto the battlefield this way. You may attach one of them to a samurai you control. So it's a weird kind of Titan effect. Yeah, I think this will be good in an equipment-based deck, which it seems like there's an equipment sub-theme across all of this set.
Villain who plays kind of the comic relief in the game. He has a passion for weapons, and that's exactly what his card does. It's a Titanic ability. If you're familiar with Magic, a Titan ability is enters and attacks. He searches for those equipment. He looks at the top 6 cards of your library, gets all of those equipment onto the battlefield. And then you pick one of them, it keeps going. One of them goes for free onto any samurai you control, whether it's from Kamigawa, whether it's Gilgamesh himself, snaps onto that samurai and gets to fighting.
Thank you so much for the ooze again. They make us feel great. Right, Zakil, our next card you're going to take us through showcases the depth of the worlds you get to play in, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So for the Universes Beyond program, one of my favorite things is we get to tailor each set based on the IP and audience that we're working with. So our language to you as Magic players and as Final Fantasy fans is through the lens of design. Now, internally, we have this thing called a complexity dial that kind of goes from 1 to 5, with 1 being kind of our intro-level products and 5 being our more complex products like a Horizon set. Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy is a little bit higher on that dial, specifically because you all, as video game players and specifically RPG fans, already innately understand a lot of aspects of game development. We don't have to explain the idea of health or mana or damage or items or party configuration or the difference between a glass cannon versus a tank. So internally, we just really had the rule of cool to make sure that we made the best versions of each character, went through Magic's archives to bring back all of the most awesome mechanics that pay off all of your favorite moments. So the best example of that is in Bart and Boko. And
Chocobo.
Boko have a very interesting ability.
Bards and Boko, 3 and 2 green for a total of 5 mana for a legendary creature, human bird. Rare. 4/3 with affinity for birds. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each bird you control. When Bartz and Boko enters, each other bird you control deals damage to its equal to its power to target creature and opponent controls. I think most birds are in white-blue, so that's going to make this slightly awkward. But maybe there's birds supporting green. I don't think there's a ton, but we always need those niche commanders.
And that is affinity for birds. So affinity is a long-time Magic mechanic that has been around for more than 20 years, and this is a way in which we're able to build specific themed decks within the set to encourage you to play. Perhaps there is a Chocobo deck that you can build from the set, and then when they come into play, each other bird you control deals damage to your opponents, which we think will be pretty fun and limited.
Yeah, I gotta say, in our internal testing, I was always on Team Birds. I love that standard. You can take like your Bloomborough birds and your Chocobos and put them together to make a cool deck. So count me in as a bird fan. Go Birds.
Just as a vibe check, have we got any bird fans in the audience? I like you so much. Okay, moving on. Final Fantasy VI.
Verse 7's going to be insane.
Yeah, I said, sorry, I don't think you heard me. I said Final Fantasy VI. Daniel, Final Fantasy VI is the first of 4 games that have commander decks. Is that correct?
That's true. We get to talk about Commander. This is the first of 4 Commander decks. Commander decks, if you're not familiar, are 100-card pre-constructed decks. When you buy this deck, it will be completely themed around Final Fantasy VI, as the other games when we get to them. This deck specifically, we focused on the second half of the Final Fantasy VI game to set you up for story. Kefka just won, the world's in ruin, all your party members are scattered across the land, and you're going to gather them back up, form your party, get the gang back together, and go take down Kefka. And that's exactly what Terra here does. Her trance ability, when she attacks, she'll get an evasive so she can connect in, but she's also going to fill your graveyard with your party members and friends. Then when she connects, you're going to bring them back, you're going to get the party together, and you're going to go conquer Kefka.
Pretty cool. Do you want to show us a little bit how summons might work in this game?
Well, it wouldn't be Final Fantasy without.
If this is a reprint, I'm guessing Rekindling Phoenix.
Summons. With Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy, we introduced it as Saga.
Okay. Rare Commander Saga. Summon Esper. This is red. Velagarmonda, 3 and a red for an enchantment creature, Saga Drake, 3/3 with flying and haste. Chapter 1, exile an instant or sorcery card from each graveyard. Chapters 2, 3, and 4 add red for each lore counter on this saga. You may cast an instant or sorcery card exiled with this saga, and mana of any type can be spent to cast that spell. I think the problem that you're going to run into with these is, yes, you get the saga, but also you lose the creature. I think for this one, it's not going to be too big of a matter because it's a 3/3 with flying and haste, so hopefully you're able to get in a couple turns. But you're basically paying for a creature with fading that has effects.
Creatures. These are both creatures and sagas. So you'll get your creature out. Summon Esper Valagramonde has haste, so it'll attack right away. But as the turns pass, you'll tick down, get those abilities. The first one, you're going to be pulling resources from all graveyards, all those non-creature spells. And over time, you're going to get mana to cast those spells. And at the end of the chapter, it's going to go away in an epic conclusion.
Wow. So do we have any Terra fans in the audience? I like Herald of Hope.
Again?
Here's the card. I think we've shown it. She looks pretty good, right? Here's Stephanie to tell us a little bit more.
Thanks, Ben. You may have noticed that there is something very special.
Hold on a minute. Terra Magical Adept. 1 red and a green for a legendary creature. Human Wizard Warrior, Mythic Rare. When Terra enters, mill 5 cards. Put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. Trance 4 red green tap, exiled and returned to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control. Transforms into Esper Terra. And this is from the main set as well, I should mention. Esperterra, 6/6 flying, legendary enchantment creature, Saga Wizard. And Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 are create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. And then Chapter 4, add white, white, blue, blue, black, black, red, red, and green, green. Exile Esperterra, and then return it to the battlefield. Interesting. If you can give her haste, in theory, you could flip her over. Then, when it gets to that final chapter, she transforms. Then you could flip her again and still have mana left over. Because you get 10 mana, it only costs 6. So, yeah. This seems powerful in an Enchantress list. Naya Enchantress, I guess, would be the best one. Also, red, white, black for the original, and now red, green for this one. So she just doesn't touch blue, I guess.
About these two paintings. In our Final Fantasy Artist series, we've invited 9 incredible artists from Square Enix to illustrate any character from the Final Fantasy franchise. They were not limited to the series that they worked on, but invited to illustrate any character, especially ones that they have always wanted to paint. So not only are these painted by the one and only Yoshitaka Amano, but these are brand new paintings of Terra, never before seen until this Universes Beyond partnership. And without further ado, here's a special message from Amano himself.
ファイナルファンタジーはね、やっぱりずっとやってきてるし。あ、こっちはもうね、なるべく非常識の絵を描こうっていうことで、とらわれないで描きました。これはもう状況がもういっちゃってるんですよね。炎の中に入ってるっていうんですかね。ケフクはもうめちゃくちゃですね。狂った色、いろんな色が入った方がいいんじゃないかなっていうイメージみたいなぼやっとしたものがあって、それを形にしていく、その行為が楽しいというか、まずその通常のティナは剣持ってて空挺がいっぱいいてっていうファイナルファンタジーの世界をちょっともう一回表現してみる。こっちの変身後の方は最初にキャラクター作った時以外はあんまり描いてないんですよね。あの時はもう少しこう腕フォルムされてましたから、これはちょっとリアルにしたんですけども。おー、かっこいいですね。素晴らしいです。素晴らしいですね。へえ。小さいんですけども、すごいこう、重みがあるというんですかね。マジックとファイナルファンタジーのコラボレーション。皆さん楽しんでください。
So if we're going to get art from Amano to put on our cards, we had better make some pretty awesome magic cards. And that's what you're seeing here with Terra. So on her front face, she comes down. She finds you an enchantment. One of those saga creatures, perhaps. Something that she can summon. When it's time, you can flip her over to her other side, literally turn the card over to unlock Esperterra. She copies an enchantment that you have and does something we've never done in Magic before, which lets you kind of set it on the chapter counter you want, get the abilities you want, and then it goes away. After her 4 chapters are done, she adds 10 mana to your pool, which for all you astute Magic fans in the audience, you might notice that she is green and red, and she starts adding white, blue, and black, which is, of course, the Esper color combination in Magic the Gathering. She flips back over to her front side, and then you can do it all over again. Plus, get that Enter's ability to grab another enchantment. A really powerful Magic card, and really worthy of this incredible artwork.
All right. Dylan, please would you bring us up to speed on the narrative of Final Fantasy VI?
So it sounds like we have a lot of Final Fantasy VI fans here in the audience today, but if you haven't played this wonderful game yet, I'm just going to spin you a picture so we can all understand what we're talking about here. So Final Fantasy VI is an epic told in 2 parts. The first half of the story revolves around the conflict between the Gestalian Empire and the Returners' resistance movement. It takes on a very classic shape of a Final Fantasy story, right? We're introduced to our many beloved cast of characters like Terra and Celeste, Locke, and eventually we see them all come together, rally to battle against Kefka, one of video game's most iconic villains of all time. But of course, as the chosen heroes to save the world from the villain of this game, you would expect that when you go up against Kefka, you are victorious. But perhaps, as Daniel alluded previously, something special about Final Fantasy VI is halfway through the game, you lose. And so, the second part of this game is about the world of Ruin, where Kefka has become the ruler of all. He has become all-powerful and is the master of all magic.
Kefka, Court Mage, 2 and a Grixis for a 4/5 mythic rare legendary creature human wizard. When Kefka enters or attacks, each player discards a card, and you draw a card for each card type among cards discarded this way. 8, call it generic mana. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent of their choice, transform Kefka, turning into Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, a legendary creature avatar wizard, 5/7. Flying, whenever an opponent loses life during your turn, you draw that many cards. The backside can definitely go infinite. Also, another Titan effect.
So, your party is scattered to the winds. Eventually, Celeste, Terra come back together. You rally everyone to take on Kefka one more time and eventually conquer the ruler of Ruin.
So, Gavin, do you want to take us through this card?
Yeah, this is a very special one, Ben. So, of course, featuring that amazing artwork by Amano, a blue, black, and red legend. When Kefka enters, you play a little mini-game. Each player is going to discard some cards, and then you get to draw some cards back up. Well-fitting of kind of the mini-game aspect that Kefka has. But when it is time to go to the world of Ruin, you can pay 8 mana. Each opponent sacrifices a permanent, the world gets a little ruined, and then you flip Kefka over. 5/7, flying. It can attack right away the turn you flip it over, of course, as long as it's been played for a turn. You hit your opponent, you draw 5 more cards, and then as long as Kefka's in play, whenever an opponent loses life, you draw that many cards. It is very hard to come back from getting hit by Kefka, just as it should be.
Okay, there you have it. Final Fantasies 1 through 6. We are halfway through our show.
Here comes
and
7.
We are going to give our incredible panelists a little break for a few minutes. So please give it up for our panelists. Thank you so much. Not you, Gavin. You stay here, you naughty boy. Right, friends. We're going to shake things up. We're going to play a little game I've been contractually obliged to call Summon the Numbers. Are you ready? Summon the Numbers is a game that's going to involve some guests. It's also going to involve you, and it's going to involve a lot of chaos. This has been a very slick show so far. This bit is going to destroy all of that.
You guys like chaos? The people have spoken, Ben.
One more time. Okay, I can't do this alone. I need some special guests. Let's get them out here. 2 teams, 4 special guests. The first guest is starting with our first team, a multiple championship title winner, a massive fan following, widely recognized catchphrase, Baby. This legendary professional wrestler from All Elite Wrestling has proven himself to be a generational entertainer. He's also a passionate gamer who's built a significant following with his gaming content. Please welcome Adam Cole. And joining him, she's a multimedia content creator who's passionate about Magic the Gathering, sharing her love for the game through gameplay reviews and box openings on Twitch and YouTube as she strives to make the MTG space more inviting for everyone. Outside of content creation, she's also an actor and enjoys building community both online and at events. Please welcome Talia Vess. Hey team, how you doing? You feeling good?
Very good.
Feeling very, very good. Very confident.
Yeah?
Very confident.
You think you're going to win?
Oh, I think it's a guarantee.
Absolutely.
I think it's an absolute guarantee.
Unfortunately, there's
like your confidence.
2 people standing in your way. The other team, this is who they're going to be facing. A professional wrestler from Canada, is a founding member of All Elite Wrestling and is widely regarded as one of the best wrestlers in the world. He's entered the Tokyo Dome as Sephiroth or One-Winged Angel and as a theme song created by Masayoshi Soken and Nobuo Uematsu, a passionate gamer and Final Fantasy lover. Give it up for Kenny Omega.
Oh, okay. Here we are. Here we are. Whoa. Woo.
And joining him, you know our next participant as Kimiko in Amazon's Emmy-nominated series The Boys, as well as David Litch's action thriller Bullet Train and David Ayer's Suicide Squad. She's also a robust voiceover actor, with most recently heard in Studio Ghibli's English dub of The Boy and the Heron as Lady Himi, and Amazon's animated reboot of Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft, as well as the Netflix series She-Ra and Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beasts. Say hello to Karen Fukuhara.
Hello!
Wowee!
How's it going, Pax? Wow, look at this turnout.
Great.
Do you feel incredible? Do you feel like you're going to win?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, I mean, when they asked me who I wanted to team up with, they assumed, and don't take this the wrong way, they thought I would want to team with you, Adam, but I've got a winning partner here, so. Karen.
We're going to make you eat those words later. Trust me. Trust me. We're winning this thing. We're winning this thing, baby. Let's go.
That's right. I'm watching you.
Who better to get to deal with numbers than two wrestlers? Good idea, Wizards. Great idea. Okay, that's not...
I take offense to that. I'm sorry.
You lose. Congratulations to this team. You are in my house now, Kenny.
Yes, sir.
Right. That's not all. These teams need your help. Please, would you like to go out the back? The two people who are going down here.
Yes.
Those who have been instructed previously. Karen, please. We'll see you in a second. Adam. Oh, that's so mysterious. Where are they going, I hear you say?
Let's do it.
Woo!
All right, so should we discuss strategy?
Kenny.
Kenny, where the hell are you going?
Oh,
We gotta keep it secret.
No. You have to stay. You have to stay out there.
What the hell
you
is
gotta
going
stay
on?
out there.
Okay.
We got this. We
have
got
so-
this.
okay, we have such a short time for this game.
No,
You're wasting so much of it.
I'm taking the piss. I'm sorry.
I respect you so much, but you are ruining this for me. Honestly, no, Kenny, I've told everyone that I'm doing this, and I need to look professional.
It's even worse when I wrestle, trust
Okay,
me.
well, I respect you, but just not now.
You got it.
Okay, well, it's going so well, Ben. It's going so well.
Chaos, am I right?
We love chaos.
Okay, we need your help, okay? Everyone here is Team J.
Blue mages.
Everyone here is
Blue
Team Chandra.
Chandra.
Wow.
Everyone in the middle is Switzerland. No, divide yourself. I can't be bothered to choose. Somewhere down there, choose what you want. I don't know. This room isn't divided in the way that we hoped for this particular game. Right, let's play this sweet, sweet game.
But of course, we're going to need some, maybe cute companions or something like that.
Yes, we
to
are.
Hang out with our team members. Maybe they'd like to meet them.
Yes, do you want to see them?
Do you like something cute? Something adorable?
You want to see some cute things on the screen?
I mean, come on.
Look at those guys. Come on.
Come on.
Something special for Team Jason, Team Chandra,
They're so cute. It's so cute. I've lost all of my cards and I have no idea what's going, so we are literally going at this blind, everyone.
Our little Jason Chandra Chocobo are brand new, worked in collaboration with Square Enix for this release.
Yep.
They'll be on Magic the Gathering Arena as well as pets, so pretty cool.
That is so cute, aren't they? Offensively cute. Okay, some of the numbers is a very simple game now that I've found the cards and I can display it myself. Each question is about Magic and Final Fantasy. What a surprise, every answer is a number. But we want you to help our teams. So joining Karen and Adam to make your guesses, if you'd like to take part, please, with some decorum, line up either side behind our guests. Okay?
Come on, Team Jace.
Good work,
Don't
brave
be
souls.
shy.
Good
This
work.
is the correct side
them up,
to be
baby.
on.
Once
Everyone
I
this
ask
way.
this question, thank you. Once I ask this, I will ask you a question. 3 of you will give your answers to our lovely teams down here. You will then lock in your answers, write them down here, and then we will come to the numbers master himself, who will give us the correct answer.
That's right. They got an English major to do the numbers, so I'm doing what I can here, okay?
As you can see, this has already gone completely off the rails, but there is one rule. And the one rule, please, is no phones, no way. Get your filthy hands off the internet, you dirty, dirty people. Okay, here is our first question. And I'm going to go to this team over here.
Team Jace?
Team Jace.
Wait, cheer for Team Jace.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
All right, a lot of excited people.
Here we go.
Don't encourage them. Don't encourage
Team
them.
Chandra, you want to make some noise?
Let's go, guys!
Team Jace, you want to make some noise? Okay, question 1. Question 1. You'll get to answer soon, don't worry.
Thank you, thank
Get
you.
your guesses in. Black mages have been a recurring element in Final Fantasy ever since the very first game. But in Magic the Gathering, how many black cards have the word mage in their name?
Mage.
Yeah, so we're looking for numbers.
So, would you like to come forward and make your guesses, please? Team Jace.
So your name, where you're from, and then what your answer is, my friend.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I'm going to go with, let's go with like 20.
20. Okay.
That feels
Good guess.
safe. I like that.
Thank you so much. What's the next one? What's your guess?
Name, where you're from, what your answer is?
Patrick from Massachusetts. I'm going to say 11.
Lovely.
11. Beautiful. And name, where you're from. Nice T-shirt. What your answer is?
My name is Phil. I'm from Portland, Maine. I think it's about 30.
Great. Okay, you're going to lock one of those answers in.
Ooh.
Do it. And whilst you're doing that, team over here, Karen, let's go.
All right. Come on up. Okay. What is your name and where are you from?
I'm Ryan from Massachusetts.
Awesome. Give it up for Ryan. Woo.
Thank you.
Okay, what's your guess?
I have no idea, but I'm just going to go with 25.
All right, that's safe. We like that.
That's
25.
it.
All right. You can stay up
You
here.
guys are cooked. I'm
Maybe just
liking
make
this
room for-
already.
Okay, next one. Let's go.
All right. What is your name and where are you from?
My name is David. I'm from Massachusetts.
Is
I'm
this
going to guess
Sample
16.
collector booster?
Lovely. Great number. I love that number.
Love that.
Thank you. Anyone else? If you guys just keep saying 16, you automatically win. Okay. Next one.
All right. Are you ready? Yes, I am. Okay. What is your name and where are you from?
William from New York City.
Yeah.
I am.
dig
I'm
it.
gonna go a little higher. I'm gonna say 45.
Whoa.
Now we're talking.
Okay, guys, I want you to lock one of those
Okay.
answers in. Do you remember any of those numbers, Kenny?
Oh, yeah. I know exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
Do you remember those numbers, Talia?
Yeah.
You're already in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Okay, great. I would
am
love us
in.
to reveal your answers.
Now. Or
Yeah,
do I
now,
wait for
please. Yeah,
Kenny?
yeah, do it now if you want.
Okay,
you know what?
he
No,
was still
do it after
writing.
the
I
show.
don't want him to
Do it
see my-
after the show.
I went with 20. Right in the middle.
45. Let's go.
Okay, here we
Go big or go home.
All right, well, the correct
Get
answer,
outta here.
everybody, is 43.
I think there were 43 of them.
Let's go. That was awesome.
Don't worry.
That was awesome, guys.
We're on a tight schedule here, and all people really want to do is
Good
see
one,
cards,
Kenny.
and they're caught in a chaotic game right now. But that's okay. We're going. Question 2. It's really simple. Let's make this a little bit quicker. If you can say your name doubly fast, where you're from even faster, and then the number as if we can't almost hear it. It's so fast.
Okay.
Number 2. Let's go. There are presently 16. That's right. Mainline games in the Final Fantasy RPG series. How many creatures in Magic the Gathering have a combined power and toughness of 16?
Okay, name, where you're from, and what your answer is.
Imagine 16.
Richard from Massachusetts, and I'm going to say 27.
27. Name, where you're from, what your answer is.
Hey, I'm Matthew from Lowell, Massachusetts, and I'm going to say 15.
Name, where you're from, what your answer is.
Craig, Groveland, Massachusetts, and 41.
Good guesses. Good guesses.
Wonderful. Here we go.
Talia, feeling good about this.
Congratulations. Get those locked in. Team over
Okay.
here.
Thank you.
We need some low
Thank you,
numbers,
Ben.
guys.
Come
Give me
on
some
up.
low numbers.
Okay. What is your name and where are you from?
Jeff from Boston, and I'm gonna go 1.
You know it, Jeff.
Oh.
You know it.
Okay, thank you.
You know it.
Come on up. Oh, lovely shirt. I love the cats.
You too.
Are you
I like them
Mason?
too.
I'm Mason. I'm from Seattle, Washington.
I like them too, buddy.
Hey,
There we
my
go.
man.
All right.
I'm gonna go for 7.
Okay.
Lucky number 7. Lucky number 7.
Cats. Guys, he likes cats. What can I say?
We
What
love
can I
cats.
say?
Give it up for the cats.
Guys, done. It's done.
Hi,
7.
nice to meet
7's
you.
our guess.
Hi, come on up. Okay.
Hi, my name's TJ Gamebox. I'm from
All right,
Massachusetts.
where are you?
Massachusetts.
Where are you?
Massachusetts!
All right, go for it, buddy.
I'm gonna go 22.
Ooh.
22.
Okay, guys, got to lock
Thank you
those
so
in.
much.
Remember, when you come up here, you're not representing yourself. You're representing thousands of people. Please genuinely feel the pressure. Everyone cares, okay? Great. Let's lock the answers in. Let's see what you've gone for. Team Jace.
I went with the lowest, 15. Hey.
It's great to know that your team have no confidence in you.
No confidence.
Okay, let's go,
All
Team
right, I'll just
Chandra.
take the points now. It's 7. The number is low. The number is low. I know it is.
Yep.
Both great numbers, both great Final Fantasy games, but the correct answer is 85. 85. That's
Damn.
2 points for Team Jace.
We won.
Score is 1-1. 1-1, everybody.
Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure, I'm afraid.
Can we check that again?
Nope.
Okay. Maybe next time.
I make the cards, buddy, my rules.
Okay,
All
yeah.
right.
Maybe next time. Yeah.
Much like the much beloved Final Fantasy series, this is truly gripping stuff. Here we go. Question number 3. Launched in 1993, Magic the Gathering will be honoring 32 years of trading card gaming with its collaboration with Final Fantasy. In December of 2025, Final Fantasy will have been a gaming franchise for how many years?
We need
Okay.
a number for years. Interesting.
Name where you're from and what your answer is. If you want to come up here.
You guys better get this.
It was how many years, right? My name's Alan. I'm from Massachusetts, and I believe it should be around 28.
Okay.
28.
28.
Name where you're from, what your answer is.
I'm Issa. I'm from Kuwait, and honestly, I don't
Damn.
know.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I don't know. I'm really just here for the thrill of it, really. So
Yeah.
I'm just.
Me too, buddy, me
I'm
too.
gonna say I don't know.
It's also, that's a great number.
Yeah,
Put
but
that
shout out
down.
Ben Starr. We love you.
Thank
You're
you.
the best. Final Fantasy 16 is the best Final Fantasy, by the way.
And celebrate me by giving us a number.
16. 16.
16. There you
16.
go, baby.
There it is.
Oh, dang. I like it.
And name where you're from, what your answer is.
My name is Matt. I'm from Pennsylvania. I'm going to guess 40.
40.
40.
Here
Good
we
guesses.
go.
Good guesses.
Thank you so much. We'll lock one of those answers in.
Yes.
Here we go.
All
Team
right, Team
Chandra.
Red. Let's go. Name, where are you from? What's your guess?
Hi, my name is Tim. I'm from Bethel, Connecticut, and I am going to guess 39 specifically.
All right. I like that. Come on up. Name, where you're from, and what's your guess?
I'm Matthew from Florida, and I'm going to say 34.
Ooh.
Okay. Hi. Come on up. Where are you from, and what's your name, and what
What's
is your
the number?
guess?
Hi everyone, I'm Michelle. I'm from Massachusetts. Woo! And my guess is 36.
A lot of 30s. A lot of 30s.
Lock
Thank
one
you
of
so
those,
much.
Lock one of those answers in, please.
All right, Kenny.
confident.
What's
We
it
got
gonna
this.
be? What's it gonna be?
Okay.
Please reveal your answer.
All right, we went with 40.
Good answer. Good answer.
Good answer.
Oh, brah. So I had to take the answer that was closest to that, so 39.
39.
All right,
Well-
it's going to be a close one.
I've got some great news for one of you. The correct answer is
I had no choice.
38.
I had no choice, which is why I picked
Yeah, it would be too much of a hype if it was 40 years, because there'd be more announcements that people would see.
That's why I did it.
A true
And I'll do it
genius.
again.
A true genius at work. That's now 2 points for Chandra, 1 point for Jace. Coming down to the wire
got
here.
this.
Here we go. Let's
come
go on to
back. We
question
can come
number
back.
4. Chocobos are the beloved bird character of Final Fantasy, but Magic has its fair share of birds as well. How many bird creatures have been printed in Magic?
Okay.
I
Name
love
where you're from,
birds.
what your answer is.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nick. I'm from Massachusetts.
Yes.
And my answer is 22.
22.
Lovely.
Nice. Nice.
Over
Name,
100.
where you're from, what your answer is?
My name's Ryan. I'm from New Jersey, and I'm gonna guess 69.
69. There we go.
Nice.
Don't cheer that. Do not
Name
cheer
where
that.
you're from, what your answer is?
No.
I'm May from Montreal. I like going extra 155.
155. Good guesses. Good guess.
Okay. Wonderful. Lock one of those answers in, and we'll move over here to Team Chandra. Let's go, Karen.
All right. Name where you're from and your guess.
My name's Noah. I'm from Connecticut. I'm gonna go with 123.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Good answer.
Good
answer.
What's your name?
I'm liking it.
My name's Joel. I'm from Massachusetts, and my guess is 132.
132. Come on up. Okay. Name where you're from and the number.
Jim, Arlington, Massachusetts, 170.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Okay, everyone, let's
200.
reveal our numbers, please.
Okay, I went with
213.
55. But I don't know. I feel like it might be more.
Yeah. Like, clearly.
So you've gone with 170. Please,
points.
Gavin, reveal the number.
Well, you know, I'm a bird fan. You got Avon, you got Bloomberg birds, you got all these other birds, and the right answer is 403, which puts the point back on Team Chandra.
Yeah.
We were going for, I thought it was just creature type bird, not
Listen,
Avon.
I do want to take a moment because actually, Adam, this is embarrassing for you.
I don't know what to say.
Is there anything you want to say to your team to kind of like perk them up, maybe get their ideas going?
This is all being done on purpose because we're about to have comeback of the century. Mark my words.
I don't think
Mark
so.
my words. We
I
got
don't
this.
think so.
It is the first of 4 points, is it not, Ben?
It is the first of four, so you're not doing great. You are on life support. I do respect you more than Kenny, but this is truly bad.
Hey.
I don't, Kenny. I like you way more. Okay, let's go. Question number 5. One class in Final Fantasy is the White Mage. In Magic the Gathering, a White Mage is a player who casts spells using white mana. How many cards, wow, this is interesting, how many cards that include white mana have been printed in Magic?
Can't be that many. Can't be that many, right?
Okay. Name where you're from and what's your answer?
I'm just
6,542.
Go high.
Hi, I'm Dylan. I'm from Rhode Island, and I don't know. Let's go with 5,307.
Okay.
All right.
All right, name where you're from, what your answer is?
Anthony, Buffalo, New York, and I'm going to go with 2,512.
Beautiful.
Okay.
High numbers. High numbers. Good stuff. All right, name where you're from, what your answer is?
Nova from Jacksonville, Florida, and my answer is 10,849.
Whoa.
Wow.
Nice and high. Beautiful.
There we go.
Okay, let's move over. Karen, let's go.
All right. What's your name, where you're from, and your guess?
Jeff, New Jersey, 26,806.
Love that. Aiming big. Thank you. All right. Oh, I love this. Okay, what is your name? What is your guess? Where you're from?
Do you want that in that order?
Yes.
My name is Ian. The guess is 10,850. And I'm from Massachusetts.
Thank you.
All right, come on up. What's your name? Where you're from? And what's your
Give
guess?
me something to work with.
My name is Tommy. I'm from New Hampshire, and I'm going to go ahead and throw out 1,222.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Here we go. Lock in your answers, please.
This could be for the game.
I feel like this
Would be, I'm guessing like,
Whoever gets the point here, they will win.
it's like what, 30 just mono cards per set probably? Another 5, 15, 45,
You definitely remember all of the
45,000. Now,
Excellent. So, reveal
90,000. Heck with it.
We went with 5,307.
Kenny, this could be for the win. Let's go.
Yeah.
That feels good.
10,850.
It's definitely more than 10,000.
Well, the correct answer. I have everyone listening to me now. Awesome. The correct answer is 6,143. Point over for Team
Really?
Jace on the board. Jace on the board.
Come back of the century. Here it is.
All right,
Okay, everyone,
3 and 2.
we're going to have to speed through this. You've got this. It's really, really close. You can see the numbers right now. It's 3-2. It's getting closer than we thought. Question 6. The Buster Sword is one of the most well-known weapons in Final Fantasy. In Magic, how many cards have either the word Buster or the word sword in their card name?
Oh my god.
Okay. All right, so name, where you're from, your answer?
All right, so my name is Charles. I am from Pennsylvania. I'm actually also from Philly. Woo! And I like a lot of numbers. So the number I'll give is probably, I would say, 105.
Great.
I love that. Thank you.
Name, where you're from, your answer?
Hi, my name's Adam. I'm also from Philly as well. And the number I'm going to say is 255.
Good.
255.
All right, my friend. Name, where you're from, what your answer is?
My name's Brian Moses. Jesus Christ, this was a broad-ass slice. My name's Brian Moses, and I'm from right here in Massachusetts. Make some noise. And my guess is going to be 285.
Awesome. Awesome.
Okay, Kenny, let's go. Karen, what do you got?
All right, what's your name, where you're from, and what's your guess?
My name's Z. I'm from Connecticut, and my guess is 348.
348. Come on up. Name, where you're from, and number?
My name is Mallory. I'm from Albany, New York, and I'm going to say 350.
All
right.
Here we go.
Hello.
You're a
lovely-
cosplayer.
This is awesome. Name, where you're from, and what is the number?
Okay, I'm Meg. I'm from Boston, and my guess is 750.
Wow.
All right.
Okay, quickly lock those
I
in
hope
because
you
we
get
don't
it.
have much time. Lock those numbers in. What
All
do
right.
you think?
All right.
Okay.
We went with 255.
I had
Team
to go with
Chandra.
our lowest number, so it's 348.
Wow. Okay.
This is it, y'all.
All right, well, the correct answer, I'm afraid, is 72, which means that Jace gets a point. We are tied up, 3-3. All right.
The drama, the drama, the drama. Okay, this is it, guys. This is crunch time. It's 3-all, first to 4. Make this happen.
Hey,
Wow.
this is what you've given me to work with? I picked this because you made me. We have to win, guys. Come on.
Let's go.
Team Sandra.
Guys,
Team
hype up your team.
Sandra rolling the
Come
R.
back
Team
of the century,
Sandra.
everybody. Let's go. We got this. We got this.
Come on. Sandra.
Chandra, 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 Chandra.
Hey. Go. Go. Go.
This is what you're fighting for. Something incredibly superficial.
Our pride.
The knowledge that where you sat today, for some reason, makes you better than everyone else.
So, wait, super means it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, great thing, Kenny.
There we
Great
go. We're
thing.
superficial, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Last question. It's incredibly important. This is for bragging rights and for just being cooler than the other half of the room for some reason.
Yep.
Our panel today features 4 members of the Wizards of the Coast design team. Final Fantasy VI holds the record for a mainline Final Fantasy game with the most playable characters. But exactly how many main playable characters does Final Fantasy VI have in total?
All right, here we go. Name, where you're from, your answer?
Drew from Detroit, Michigan, and I'm going with 15.
15.
And you know what? Wait. Gonna go over here for the next one.
Ooh, okay. All
Back and
right.
forth.
Whoa.
Are you ready? Okay, name, where
Going
you
back
from,
and
and
forth,
what is
huh?
the
Doing
number?
that stuff again.
I'm Matthew from Massachusetts, and I'm going to say 16.
16.
Back over here.
Bruh.
All right, name, where you're from, your answer?
Yo. Don't use this to get brownie points at the host. Just say the right answer. We got to win.
I'm Jack from New York. I'm going to go with 23.
23.
23.
Back over here.
All right, hello. You know the drill.
All right, Ace from Brooklyn, and I think 21.
Thank you so much. 21.
All right, name, where you're from, your answer?
Hi, my name is Justin. I'm from Niskayuna, New York, and my number is 20.
20.
Okay.
There we go.
Remember, guys, it's
It's a
Final
lot.
Fantasy VI. It's actually not that hard.
Ooh, shots fired. All right, name where you're from and what is the number?
I'm Mike from Springfield, and the number is 14.
You knew it! I mean,
Definitive, thank you.
Okay, everyone, you got to lock in one of those answers, right?
Yo. You done. You done. You washed.
All right, those answers getting locked in. This is
Are
for
y'all
it. This is
sure?
for all the bragging rights. You'll feel good all Saturday. Are you excited to find out your champions?
No,
Here we go.
Let's
go, Kenny.
6, 5, wait.
Here we go. Right, okay.
Okay.
What have you put?
Oh my gosh, we've been with 15.
You
I
put
was getting all
15.
kinds of answers. I hope this is right.
Team Chantal, what have you put?
I'm just not sure, so I guess I'll just give you guys the right answer at 14.
Please, put us out of our misery. What is
We've
it?
got 15 on this side, 14 on this side, and the correct answer is...
it just...
14! Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Thank you.
It would have been embarrassing if the guy was incorrect.
Hell yeah!
Yes. Good job.
Congratulations
Good job.
to our winners. Commiserations to our losers. Thank you so much for every single person who came up. I know it's quite daunting. The lights are incredibly bright, and believe me, I know what a bright light feels like.
I just want to thank my opponent. It was a great match.
Oh, thank you.
No,
All right,
I'm
I'll
just kidding.
see you on the rink
I'm
for
just
that
kidding.
one.
I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
And on that note, thank you so much to our incredible guests. Talia, Kenny, Karen, and Adam.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all for helping.
And also to you, thank you so much for participating in this very, very silly game. I promise we will get back to the serious thing of looking at cards. But I believe, are we throwing some booster packs out into the audience right now? There you go. I can see some things being thrown around the audience right now. I hope they're booster packs. Please stay in your seats. You will get them if you want.
I love seeing all the hands up.
Yeah.
Everyone wants a booster pack. Who doesn't want a booster pack, Ben?
I want a booster pack.
Ah, I love it. I love it. So much excitement.
Okay, everyone, please settle down, settle down. I did ask myself before I came out, is everyone in the audience feral? And you have just answered that question for me. So thank you so much, and thank you for being very, very silly. I think we need to get back to a little bit of decorum. So please, thank you to our guests, thank you to you. Let's bring our panelists back onto the stage. Gavin, Zakil, Dylan, Daniel, let's rejoin.
Gavin was already here.
Who wants to see some magic cards? Woo! All right, all right.
Okay.
Time for 7.
That was incredibly well planned. Let's go. I want everyone to settle down, and I recognize that we can't really jump back immediately into Final Fantasy VII. I think we need to jump into something a little fun. I think we need to jump into something, dare I say, a little cute. Let's watch this.
gold chocobo.
Wow, that's Quasi.
Good on Monicon.
That's not in the cards. I just said that myself. Okay, Zakil, talk us through this.
Yeah, oh man, I love chocobos. Right here is our flagship chocobo at Mythic in Traveling Chocobo. It is a 3-mana 3/2 that allows you to look at the top card of your library, as well as cast and play birds and lands from the top. Earlier, we showed you Bartz and Boko, who interacts within the bird archetype within the set. That card enters the battlefield and deals damage equal, or birds deal damage off that trigger. This card also doubles those triggers. And we knew that chocobos are such an important part of the Final Fantasy franchise that we had to do something really special. So enter our colorful chocobos. Here are 4 of them in neon ink, in yellow, pink, green, and blue. These are found in all language collector boosters. And during development, as we were putting this together, we worked very closely with Final Fantasy VII creative director Tetsuya Nomura, who really loved the idea. One of his producers during development told us that his favorite chocobo from the original Final Fantasy VII was the black chocobo named Teo, because he was the fastest one in the original minigame, and it held a very special place in his heart. So we built this last card in kind of as a secret in the background and surprised Tetsuya Nomura. So that card is exclusively found printed in Japanese and available in all language collector boosters as a nod to that story for him. And then the lone serialized card in Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy is the Golden Chocobo. This card is only available in English collector boosters and is serialized out of 77 for Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Give a round of applause for chocobos. Okay. Now we move on to a little bijou game called Final Fantasy VII.
Here we go.
Never heard of it. It really is an amazing video game, and it has a huge reputation. Dylan, this game is huge.
So huge, in fact, that on the original release for PlayStation, it came in 3 discs. If you were an old school gamer, if you were there back in the day, you knew you were in for a wild time when your game came in multiple discs, especially for an RPG. So, walk with me. Final Fantasy VII follows the story of Cloud Strife, ex-soldier and current mercenary, as he winds up in this broiling conflict between the Shinra Electric Company and the anti-Shinra resistance group, Avalanche. Cloud's adventure begins in Midgar, of course, the city of Mako, and this world that we're introduced to is inspired by these science fantasy aesthetics and these kind of cyberpunk inspired themes. And the first disc is just about this amazing adventure that brings together the core cast of characters like Barrett, Tifa, Aerith, Red 13, as they battle against Shinra and ultimately learn of a deadlier threat looming on the horizon, Sephiroth.
Please insert disc 2.
Disc 2 launches us into the open world, traveling across the lands, battling monsters, riding chocobo, collecting materia, and visiting many iconic locations like the Gold Saucer and Cosmo Canyon. And we get to meet more allies like Kate Sith and Sid Highwind. And if you're going for the full experience in the original release, you spend a lot of time recruiting Yuffie and Vincent. The stakes become higher, we learn more about the Ancients and Jenova, Sephiroth's master plan, and Cloud's increasingly mysterious backstory.
Please insert.
Oh, okay, we want to do disc 3, so finally, in the ultimate finale, we hit the major climax, plot twists, shocking character deaths, cataclysmic boss battles, and a final gauntlet against Jenova and Sephiroth to save the world. So I've taken you on this extended and somewhat silly journey just to kind of remind all of us how much content we needed to fit into this set just from Final Fantasy VII.
So, there are obviously some amazing cards. Let's get to it. Gavin, let's show us one.
All right. Well, we have to have the characters for Final Fantasy VII.
All right. Cloud, Midgar, Mercenary. White and a white for a legendary creature, Human Soldier Mercenary. A 2/1. When Cloud enters, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle, as long as Cloud is equipped. And if an ability of a Cloud or an ability or an equipment attached to it triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Interesting. I guess they had to do it that wording so if an equipment gives a creature an ability, then it would still work for Cloud, because he doesn't have any ability you'd be able to do off that first attack, or first ETB.
Of course. So how about Cloud? We knew we had to do Cloud. Obviously, we're going to do Cloud, but what was Cloud going to do? How are we going to make him a card that was worthy of the Cloud mantle? Well, the first thing Cloud does when he comes into play is go and find an equipment. Of course, he's got to find his sword. That's critical. Now, if you are a long-time Magic player, you might know about a card called Stoneforge Mystic. Very powerful Magic card. Cloud is a little bit reminiscent of that, finding you any equipment you want. It also doubles all the abilities conferred by that equipment. So you put, say, an old school Sword of Fire and Ice or Sword of Feast and Famine on him, boom, you're doubling up all those triggers. So there's a lot of really powerful stuff you can do with Cloud. This card is incredible and well worthy of being Cloud.
The sword.
You might be wondering, what is Cloud going to find? What kind of stuff might you want to find with Cloud? Well, there's a card in the set called Buster Sword. That's some pretty good news, right? Would you all like to see the Buster Sword? Well, I'm not going to show it to you. You can stay tuned to find out what the Buster Sword does in the days to come, but I can tell you that it's 3 mana, curves right off of a Cloud, and it's pretty good on Cloud himself.
Oh, not showing it to us. Quite literally the definition of a double-edged sword. Zakil, what's next?
Our next card, in my opinion, is one of the most iconic characters in video game history. He has brought excitement, joy, and terror to millions of fans around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor and a privilege to introduce to you, illustrated by none other than Tetsuya Nomura, Sephiroth. So Stephanie mentioned earlier that there were 9 artists from Square Enix who created illustrations exclusively for this project. One of those artists, of course, was Tetsuya Nomura. They all had the choice to pick any character from the Final Fantasy series that they wanted to illustrate, and we would make sure that they had a card. One of Nomura's missions when he drew this illustration was to really narrate the progression that the character has in his multiple different forms. So if we look on the left at the bottom, you have Child Sephiroth that was introduced in Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, who of course then grows up into adult Sephiroth from the original game, who then transforms into his penultimate form in Bizarro Sephiroth, which then leads to the end-all, be-all, most powerful version in Safer Sephiroth. So, do you all want to see his card?
Sephiroth's Fabled Soldier is a 3-mana legendary creature human avatar soldier. When Sephiroth enters or attacks, another Titan ability. You may sacrifice another creature if you do draw a card. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. If this is the 4th time this ability is resolved this turn, transform Sephiroth. Transforming into Sephiroth One-Winged Angel. Legendary creature Avatar, Angel Nightmare Avatar with Flying Supernova. As this creature transforms into Sephiroth One-Winged Angel, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies. Target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures. If you do, draw that many cards. Mythic Rare, 3/3 on the front, 5/5 on the back. Interesting to give an emblem.
So let's check out Sephiroth Fabled Soldier. He's a 3-mana 3/3. Whenever he enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. Then, Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. And if this is the 4th time this ability is triggered, transform Sephiroth into Sephiroth, 1-winged angel, who is a 5/5 legendary creature angel nightmare with flying and the ability
Move me so I'm out of y'all's way for
Supernova. As this
the
creature transforms, you gain
talking.
an emblem with the same ability from the front side, and it is capped off with whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of other creatures. If you do, draw that many cards. This is the 2nd ever creature in Magic the Gathering to produce an emblem. This is the card that I think went through the most design iterations. It felt like we had
Fiddling Triad, I think, was the first one.
within development because we wanted to make sure his card was special and he would have a grand entrance into Magic the Gathering.
Amazing. Okay, let's moving on. So many amazing characters in Final Fantasy VII. Here's one. Dylan.
Please be
We're gonna
good.
talk about the story of Sephiroth and Cloud. Of course, we're going to
Aerith Gainsborough, 2 and a white for a legendary creature human cleric. 2/2 with lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on Aerith Gainsborough. When Aerith Gainsborough dies, put X +1/+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of counters on Aerith Gainsborough. Yeah, I would expect that of her. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this extended art is, though. I hope they show it.
herself. So here we can see Aerith is the white mage and healer of the party. She's here to protect you, she's here to heal you, and she has a 3rd ability that may or may not be related to a story beat. So if you're a fan, let us know if that happens to be relevant or not. I'm not sure myself.
Yeah. Spoiler alert on that card for some reason. Okay, let's moving on.
We see this beautiful version of
That's incredible.
the Flower Girl herself. But we're not just going to talk about Aerith today, we're also going to talk about Tifa!
Okay, Tifa Martial Artist is a commander product, mythic rare, 1 and a Naya for a legendary creature human monk with melee. Melee being whenever this creature attacks, it gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each opponent you attacked this combat. Whenever one or more creatures you control with power 7 or greater deal combat damage to a player, untap all creatures you control if it's the first combat phase on your turn. Of your turn. There's an additional combat phase after this phase. Very good. Tifa Lockhart, 1 and a green for a legendary creature human monk with trample, 1/2. Landfall, whenever a land you control enters double Tifa Lockhart's power until end of turn. I feel like that didn't... Tifa does not seem very powerful, I'm not gonna lie. That Tifa.
So we see 2 Tifas here, and I actually see a Tifa here in the front row. You look fantastic. The one on the left here is Tifa Lockhart. This is her main set card, and I just want to personally attest. I have won so many games in-house with this card, and I've lost even more games against this card. She is very, very powerful, but it's not the only Tifa that we have. Daniel, you want to talk about the Commander version?
Right, you see that Chocobo symbol? That means we're talking about Commander. This is the secondary Commander for the Commander deck for Final Fantasy VII. This is Tifa. She has melee. I put that on pretty early on. You know, martial artist, she gets in there. But the second ability I was struggling with for a little bit of while, and then Dylan joined the game design team pretty late, and he's like, hey, what if you focused on this? So we leaned into that extra attack. That's what she does in the game. You're trying to get combos going. And so whenever you attack with melee, you get to power 7 or greater, which is the sub-theme of the deck. You get those extra combats. So, as you guessed, there is a full Final Fantasy VII Commander deck led by none other than Cloud himself. This deck is an equipment deck with that sub-theme of power 7 or greater. So in this deck, you'll find every party member you come to expect, maybe some villains in here as well, and all the iconic equipment like a Buster Sword, Yuffie Shuriken, Tifa's boots, everything you'd expect to find. And then with that Cloud as the face commander, he's tying everything together. He gets in there with that haste magic. He gets a free equipment. And then whenever he attacks, you draw a card for each attacking member of your team that is suited up. And then if his power is 7 or more, he gets paid as that mercenary to cast those spells.
Incredible. Right. Here we are. Finally, the game I've been waiting for, and hopefully all of you have. Final Fantasy VIII. Quite literally the game that changed my life, so this is a very emotional moment for me. Dylan, let's talk about this game.
There is so much to love and appreciate about Final Fantasy VIII. I'm so happy you all cheered so loud for this game. So Final Fantasy VIII kind of pushes what we understand fantasy to be as a genre, right? It really leans into a lot of esoteric ideas. You know, if we all remember Squall dreaming of Laguna and events of the past, trying to figure out how to stop the future, and then ultimately we go up against Ultimecia, whose whole plan harkens back to Chaos from Final Fantasy I to compress time and space into one massive power source for her to become an ascendant being. This story explores depth upon layer of how we understand fantasy to be in a modernized setting. I see why you love it so much.
I do. Daniel, let's talk us through this card here.
Well,
Boy Squall.
As Renoa once said, he's the best looking guy here. It's Squall. He's a bit of a lone wolf character, so that's what his ability.
Squall, CD Mercenary. 2 and an Orzhov for a legendary creature human knight mercenary with Rough Divide. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gains double strike until end of turn. Whenever Squall deals combat damage to a player, relevantly if he attacks alone, that's with double strike, return target permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That seems pretty good if you can find a way to get, I guess, some form of evasion on him. And also, permanent card is relevant for things like Necropotence, Necrodominance, any number of Banishing Light effects. I think 90% of those are 3 mana.
Abilities represent with that Rough Divide. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets double strike. Why is that important? The second ability, whenever he deals damage to a player, you get to return any non-land permanent with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. You got double strike, you're doing that twice. I think we have a booster fund version to show as well with that full art. Yeah, there it is. And I did mention Renoa at the beginning, Zakil. Maybe we should show her card?
Yeah. Here we have Renoa Heartlily.
Okay, first off, art's incredible, even on the non-booster fund version. Also, B, dog. Renoa Heartilly is 3 green white for a 4/4 legendary creature human rebel warlock. She has, when Renoa Heartilly enters, create Angelo, a legendary 1/1 green and white dog creature token. I don't like the name of this ability. Angelo Cannon as well. Whenever Renoa Heartilly attacks, another target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature you control. Angelo is a, of course, 1/1 green and white legendary creature token dog.
Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, Renoa is a close friend of Squall, and mechanically is known for battling alongside her dog, Angelo. So it would only be right for her to have the ability Angelo Cannon in combat. When you attack, if you have a very large party, you get a buff. Angelo, any target creature you control, but specifically Angelo, gets a huge buff. So he will come in hot. So get ready. And I think next we're going to be looking at the villain of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, enough with these heroes. Let's go on.
The villain is an uncommon. Ultimecia, Time Sorceress, is a 5-mana 4/5 legendary creature human warlock with whenever Ultimecia enters or attacks, Surveil 2. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest on the top of the library in any order. At the beginning of your end step, you may pay 8 mana, I wonder why, and exile 8 cards from your graveyard. If you do, transform Ultimecia. Ultimecia Omnipotent Menace. Time compression as well. When this creature transforms into Ultimecia Omnipotent, take an extra turn after this one. Bit of an expensive turn spell, extra turn spell, but a 5-mana 4/5. It's also, funnily enough, uncommon extra turn spell. Sure. Also, this would be bracket 3 just because of the extra turn.
The real hero of Final Fantasy VIII, and that is Ultimecia. We did something very special on this card. It's the first card in Magic's history to be an uncommon that takes an extra turn. So this is an incredibly powerful card for an uncommon. When she comes into play, she does a little surveilling, fills up your graveyard a little bit. And then finally, when you have, interesting number, 8 cards in your graveyard and 8 mana, you can turn her over to Ultimecia Omnipotent take another turn, and I'll tell you, 7/7 Menace plus another turn is a pretty easy way to close out a game. So yeah, take that, heroes. Take that.
Okay. Do we have any Triple Triad fans in the room? Oh. Would you like to see some Triple Triad cards? Yeah, I asked. They won't let me show them. Okay. But believe me, all they're in there. So, moving on pretty swiftly, we're going to go on to a little game called Final Fantasy IX. Here's Stephanie to tell us more.
I'm so excited to introduce my personal favorite of the Final Fantasy series, Final Fantasy IX. Final Fantasy IX was a fond farewell to the classic medieval fantasy setting. It paid homage to earlier games through its stylized character designs and was full of references and features from past games. One of our core creative pillars in this partnership was artistic authenticity. We needed to preserve the stylized character designs while interpreting it through the lens of magic so we could offer something fresh and exciting while staying true to the heart of Final Fantasy IX. The story follows Zidane as he teams up with the Princess of Alexandria, Garnet, to stop Queen Braun and her army of black mages. It balances charm and lovable characters with an emotional, often heart-wrenching story of self-discovery and acceptance. As a teenager, the themes were so memorable and spoke to my angsty younger self. I went as far as getting my hands on the piano collections and learned to play a few iconic pieces by heart. I fondly remember replaying my save file over and over again just to rewatch those incredible cutscenes. This game was incredibly resonant, and as with every game in the Final Fantasy series, it was important that we did Final Fantasy IX justice.
Okay. Let's see some cards. Akil?
Yes. The first character we're going to look at is one of the antagonists from Final Fantasy IX, and that is Kuja Genome Sorcerer.
Kuja, Genome Sorcerer, 4-mana rare, 3/4 legendary creature, human mutant wizard. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 0/1 black wizard creature token. With whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this token deals 1 damage to each opponent. Then if you control 4 more wizards, transform Kuja. Keeping in mind that at the end step you would have at least 2, because Kuja is a wizard, and so is the wizard that he creates. He transforms into... Let's see if they show us.
The illustration depicts a scene in which he is summoning an army of black mages against our heroes. He is also the head of the black-red archetype within the set that focuses on black mages, and he has 2 forms at the end of each.
Alright, he transforms into Transkuja Fate Defied, 4/6 legendary creature avatar wizard with Flame Star. If a wizard you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead. And also the token kind of looks like a Tonberry-esque looking thing. Interesting. Red-black, not known for its wizards.
End step, he summons wizards to the battlefield, and once you have 4 more, he transforms into his more powerful version, Transkuja, that doubles the damage of all wizards to players or permanents you control. And check out that beautiful wizard token. Up next, we have a card for the Magic fans. We haven't shown any Final Fantasy Through the Ages bonus sheet cards. Check out this card reprint of Ragavan Nimble Pilferer as Zidane Tribal. Gavin, who else from Final Fantasy IX is in this set?
Well, as a huge 9 fan, I'm really happy to show to you.
Mythic Rare Vivi Ornitier, 1 red-blue for a legendary creature wizard. For 0, add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is Vivi Ornitier's power, activate only during your turn and only once each turn. A 0/3, so you'd have to put in some work. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Vivi Ornitier, and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. Fire Magic is 1 red. For an instant with tiered, you get to choose 1 additional cost. Fire, 0 mana, additional cost. Fire magic deals 1 damage to each creature. Fira, 2, so 3 mana total, for fire magic deals 2 damage to each creature. And Firaga, 5 mana, so 6 total. Fire magic deals 3 damage to each creature. It's an uncommon.
That's the reaction I was hoping for, everybody. Here's Vivi. All right, so a little bit of black mages going on right here, right? We saw black mages a moment ago. When you cast a non-creature spell, you ping them. But Vivi's a little more curious than that. Wants to get +1/+1 counters and then generate you mana equal to Vivi's power. So not only will it generate mana as you cast more and more spells, but also if you say Giant Growth or put an equipment on them, it'll generate you tons and tons of mana. On the right-hand side there, we will see Fire Magic, which is a card with the new tiered mechanic. Tiered is a brand new mechanic appearing here in Final Fantasy. You've never seen this before. We knew we had to get abilities like Fire, Fyra, and Fyraga into the set somehow. So this is kind of like a modal kicker. It's on a handful of cards, and the more mana you put in, the bigger effect you get, just like in Final Fantasy.
Okay, Kevin, you're sounding very enthusiastic. Is it okay that your favorite game is Final Fantasy IX, right? You put a little bit extra work into this one.
Yeah, as the lead set designer, I might get to put my thumb on the scale a little bit, and so I gave 9 a bit of extra love. That's my bias.
Talking about extra love, right now we're moving on to a game called Final Fantasy X. First game on the PlayStation 2, the story of Tidus and Yuna. It's an epic quest, and it's probably the reason that I'm around. The first Final Fantasy game to have actual voice acting in it. Without it, I wouldn't have a job. It's also one of our commander decks, isn't that right, Daniel?
That's true, and speaking of favorite Final Fantasy series, of course I had to make a Final Fantasy X commander deck. The thing about commander decks is while the main set goes wide, touching all 16 games, these commander decks go deep. They're going to get those heartwarming moments that follow Yuna and her party along. And while I'm not showing you that specific Yuna moment that you're probably all thinking right now, believe me, there is a beautiful card in the set for that. But let's talk about this deck. It is built around the Sphere Grid. That's what I wanted to do right away. It is a counters matters deck. In the game, you're moving pebbles around, getting new abilities and raising your stats. In the game, you're going to be moving your counters around like you're building the Sphere Grid. Tidus himself has that ability in the beginning to set up your party at the beginning of a combat. And then cheer, whenever he connects, he will proliferate all of those counters, draw cards, and you will keep going and going for that goal. And yes, there is Blitzball in here.
Yeah. Blitzball, baby. Okay, so that's Tidus, but where is Yuna, Zakil?
Guys, you can't have Final Fantasy X without my girl Yuna. For those who don't know, Yuna is a summoner that travels through Spira.
Yuna, Hope of Spira, 3 green, white for a legendary creature human cleric from the main set. During your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control trample, lifelink, and ward 2. Very good enchantress commander off the bat. At least in the 99, she'll be good for things like Sithis. At the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. Yeah, I could see some stuff getting built around this. I can see a lot of things getting built around this.
Alongside her guardians, and her main mechanical ability is her power to summon Aeons onto the battlefield to aid her in battle. So this card focuses entirely on interacting with the Saga creatures in the set, resurrecting summons from the graveyard each turn, as well as buffing them while they are on the battlefield during your turn. And check out this beautiful borderless treatment as well.
Gorgeous. And from the summoner to the summoned, let's see one of the most iconic Aeons. How does this
colorless?
This is
Mythic?
the correct reaction for Bahamut. Now, when I was a kid, if you asked me to picture the coolest possible thing I could ever think of, I would get you Bahamut very fast. So when we concepted this card, the conceptor, the artist, and the art director, we all agreed we had to capture.
Summon Bahamut, 9-mana mythic enchantment creature, Saga Dragon with flying. Chapters 1 and 2, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Chapter 3, draw 2 cards. Chapter 4, Mega Flare. This creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. I guess making it where it deals mana value equal to the number of permanents you control would be a bit much, considering that would mean he does 9 damage just off of himself.
The aura of Bahamut and put it into this card. So we see the moment, the first time you summon it in-game, and if you look at the flavor word Mega Flare, you get to that overdrive, and you know the game will be over.
Oh, that's pretty. So, also, this game has some of the most beautiful vistas in all of Final Fantasy. Let's show off some cool lands.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mentioned some
A land with a... okay.
those rare towns earlier. This is part of a 5-card cycle, 1 for each color, and for 5 different games. This is Zanarkand Ancient Metropolis. This does something we've never done before, which is put an adventure on a land. These are the only 5 adventures in the set. They're on the cycle of 5 lands, and it's a great flavor fit because they are all things that happen in that location. Of course, if you're hanging out in Xanarkand, you might encounter the Fates. You can look for all 5 of these rare lands in the set, 1 for each color.
Amazing. So before the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV, there was the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XI.
Oh my God!
Here
yes,
we go.
my people!
And because it is an MMORPG, you had a different approach to the other games in the series.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy XI as an MMO has a lot to explore, a lot to cover, a lot to dig into. It was my first MMORPG of all time. I spent countless hours, scouring the realms of Vana'diel, whether I was making friends online or whether I was going up notorious monsters and absolutely just getting my butt kicked. I was just having the time of my life. So speaking of notorious monsters, let's talk about potentially the most notorious monster in that game. Just as a quick recap, if you don't know the story behind this character.
Okay, immediately. Absolute Virtue. 6 white blue for a legendary creature Avatar Warrior. This spell cannot be countered. Flying, you have protection from each of your opponents. Yeah, that seems pretty good. And if you can give this creature protection, then yeah, it seems pretty good.
This is a nigh unbeatable super boss endgame for the toughest of alliances with the best gear, and even then it was very difficult to even approach taking down. If you take a look at his card, I wonder what kind of time you will have when you go up against him.
Now from something absolutely terrifying to something a little cuter. Let's talk about the Dragoon's Wyvern.
Where are my Dragoons at from Final Fantasy XI? We all remember our Wyverns. I love this little guy. I spent so much time trying to go after this advanced.
Dragoon's Wyvern, 2 and a blue for a common creature Drake with flying. When this creature enters, create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. I heard that to become a Dragoon, you had to make a pact with a living Wyvern. However, thanks to the Dragon Slayers, there aren't that many dragons left. Sarlean, Sandoria, Citizen.
Job specifically because I love the idea of having the Wyvern. And so that's what Final Fantasy is about. It's achieving that amazing job, class, fantasy, in these beautiful, amazing worlds, and then never forgetting the whimsy.
Here we go. There's one more. You got something to show us, right, Zakil?
Yes, we've talked about monsters, we've talked about the sense of adventure. Let's talk about everyone's favorite NPC, the original Taro Taro Black Mage from Final Fantasy XI, Shantoto. Now, Shantoto is the flagship.
Mentioned this one at the start of the stream. Shantoto Tactician Magician. 1 blue red for a legendary creature Dwarf Wizard. Uncommon. 0/4. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Shantoto gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. If X is 4 or more, draw a card. Yeah, again, as I mentioned at the start, probably going to be very good in Balmor Battle Mage standard lists, and if it'll probably slot into any commander deck that uses that as well.
Uncommon, signpost uncommon within the set that focuses on spell slinging. When you cast non-creature spells, she gets buffs on the battlefield, and then if you cast anything that costs more than 4, you get to draw a card, which is very powerful in the context of limited and potentially even in formats like Commander.
Absolutely amazing. So, from Final Fantasy XI to... Did someone say 1? Final Fantasy 12. We yin, we yang. Here we go. Dylan, give us the story.
Right. So Final Fantasy 12 takes the much beloved world of Ivalice, and there are many adventures, many stories happening here. In the intro, we learned the Arcadian Empire is beginning their conquest on Dalmasca, and we meet our heroes 2 years thereafter. We're introduced to Vaughn, Princess Ashe, and of course, Balthier and Fran. I'd love to show you this card. This is a commander deck I'm building immediately when this set comes out.
Balthier and Fran from the main set is a rare 1 red and a green for a 4/3 legendary creature human rabbit with reach. Vehicles you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance and reach. Whenever a vehicle crewed by Balthier and Fran this turn attacks, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, you may pay 1 red green. If you do, after this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Well, Ether Drift got a lot of support from this, at the very least. I'm not a huge vehicle fan, so I doubt I'll build the card, but it does look interesting.
And so, of course, as Sky Pirates, they will care about piloting the straw, going up against, and hopefully winning the game very fast.
Amazing. Now it's time to hear from Stephanie, our art director, once again to tell us about some very important pieces of art.
So this is a very special story about the incredible Isamu Kamikoku Ryo. The city of Arcades is one of the first images made.
Wall of Omens, the Imperial City of Arcades, 1 and a white, Wall of Omens, creature wall defender. When this creature enters, draw a card. It's a classic.
For Final Fantasy XII. Visually inspiring and dense with details, this piece immerses you in the world of Ivalice. This image was used as a promotional ad in a Japanese magazine to get artists excited to work at Square Enix on Final Fantasy XII. There are many employees who are currently at Square Enix because of this painting, and in turn, Isamu made incredible friendships during his time there. It's no exaggeration to say this painting changed lives. It stands out as an example of Isamu's artistic perspective to push the imagination and craft worlds that have never been seen before.
And what's amazing about that piece of art is there is a link between 12 and the next game in the series, because that same artist had a hand in designing what we're about to show you now.
ライトニングらしさっていうのをもう一回考えた時に、内面にその激しさは秘めているんですけど、外から見ると静かに佇んでるような姿が一番ライトニングらしいのかなっていう。ライトニングって武人なんですよね。侍のような女性なので、普通に立ってても常に剣構えてるんですよ、心の中では。マジック・ザ・ギャザリングとファイナルファンタジーのコラボは、僕自身もすごく想像してなかったコラボレーションなので、マジかって感じでそこに僕が書かせてもらえるっていうのがすごい光栄だなって思いました。商品としてのすごい完成度の高さにちょっとびっくりしちゃって、
It's really well in the frame.
頑張って書いてよかったなっていう。
Dylan, tell us a little bit about the game Final Fantasy XIII.
Final Fantasy XIII perhaps is the game that leans most into its science fiction elements as it thrusts us into the artificial world of Cocoon that floats above Grand Pulse. You see, in this world, we have these supernatural entities that are known as the Fall Sea. Though humanity fears them, they seek their protection. And the Fall Sea have the ability to designate Lassie, which are basically prophesized chosen warriors. This game takes a bit of a spin of if that's really a good thing or not. As we all come to find out, Lightning, our protagonist, and her party members have chosen to become these new chosen heroes. And they go on an adventure and a quest to fulfill their focus, which may end up bringing about the end of the world? Don't worry, they are our heroes, though. Let's talk about Lightning and some gameplay from Final Fantasy XIII, Zakil.
Yeah, so Final Fantasy XIII's primary game mechanic is a mechanic called
Lightning, Army of One, legendary creature, human soldier, 3/2, mythic rare with first strike, trample, and lifelink. Stagger whenever lightning deals combat damage to a player until your next turn. If a source would deal damage to that player or permanent that player controls, it deals double that damage instead. So this wants to be built around, we're going to do first strike damage, and then regular strike damage is going to get a lot more painful. If you can give lightning double strike, then that would also go into, let's see here. This is like 9 damage on the commander if it's double strike? Jeez. Yeah, this is pretty good.
Stagger. This mechanic rewards you for exploiting your enemy's weaknesses, and once you trigger the stagger gauge, you're able to deal additional damage within combat. So it only felt right for Lightning to have a similar ability called Stagger. So let's take a look. She is a 3-mana 3/2 with the ability Stagger. Whenever she deals combat damage to a player, until your next turn, if a source would deal damage to that player or permanent that player controls, it deals double that damage instead. And then she has these small, innocuous kind of buffs, meaning with first strike and trample. So if you attack with her and, let's just say, a 1/1 creature, she has the ability to deal combat damage in the first strike phase, triggering stagger, then buffing everything else you have on the battlefield, which is going to be quite good in red-white aggressive strategies.
And it is not often that Magic uses a mechanic for just one single card, but that is what has happened here. Gavin, what have you done?
Yeah, this is something very special. This is something that we had to do a lot of talking and a lot of convincing and it was such a perfect fit, literally a perfect fit for these two characters, Fang and Vanille. So here we are, Fang and Vanille.
Mel. Fang, Fearless Issei. 2 and a black for legendary creature human warrior. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, draw a card and you lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. Melds with a Vanille, Cheerful Issei. Vanille, Cheerful Issei. Legendary creature human cleric. When Vanille enters, mill 2 cards, then return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of your first main phase, if you both own and control Vanille and a creature named Fang, Fearless Issei, you may pay 3 black, green. If you do, exile them, then meld them into Ragnarok Divine Deliverance.
Now, if you know the story of Final Fantasy XIII, these two characters are searching for each other, and they eventually find each other, and they do that well in the game, right? So when Vanille comes into play, you mill some cards, you get someone back, maybe it's Fang. Fang wants them to leave the graveyard, and then you get to draw cards. But toward the end of the game, you might know that they fuse into Ragnarok. And so the meld ability here actually allows you to turn the cards.
Ragnarok Divine Deliverance. Legendary creature Beast Avatar. Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Haste, 7/6. When Ragnarok dies, destroy target permanent destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Yeah.
Over and turn them into Ragnarok. They're both uncommon, so you can do this in draft. And let me tell you, if you get off Ragnarok, you are going to win. It is a very, very cool moment, and literally the perfect encapsulation of these two characters.
Absolutely amazing. Okay, now we move on to the critically acclaimed MMORPG, Final Fantasy XIV. Personally, I like to think of myself as the weird adopted uncle of Final Fantasy XIV, so thank you. And I'm so happy to be able to talk about that. Listen, Dylan, this is a game that everyone has an opinion about, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I just have 3 words for all of you out there. Hear, feel, think. Iconic words spoken by the Mother Crystal, spoken to all of you warriors of light out there. The critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV is often described as a theme park of Final Fantasy history, and I just absolutely love that comparison. It takes content from all the previous titles, it remixes them, updates them, and it brings them to a modern audience. It introduces you to games, characters, stories from long past, and hopefully inspires you to go try out all of these amazing games yourself. Now in the game, of course, you are the Warrior of Light. You get to customize your character, pick your job, and embark on a journey where you call the shots. So whether you are going up against the Ascian threat, perhaps, championing Hydaelyn's will, facing off the Garlean Empire, battling through the Dragonsong War, maybe going up against the bloodthirsty Xenos, or becoming the Warrior of Darkness, crying many, many tears at the end of creation, and most recently, enjoying a summer vacation. You are the Warrior of Light, and this is Final Fantasy XIV. You are all emblematic of the very wonderful community that Final Fantasy XIV is known for. Wonderful, friendly, kind, empathetic, and we thank you so much for being here and being a part of this wonderful, wonderful weekend. I can just personally attest to how amazing this game is and how profound it has been on all of us.
Daniel, this is obviously the last of the Commander deck, so I imagine you had to play a little bit of Final Fantasy XIV, didn't you?
Exactly. Unlike Dylan, and sounds like a lot of you, when I was first assigned this project, I had never actually played Final Fantasy XIV. So naturally, over the next month, I put 200 hours in with my best friend from work. Getting all the way to Shadowbringers, I played Dancer and Black Mage for those curious. And
Hildebrand Mandervale is 1 and a white for legendary creature human detective. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1. When Hildebrand Mandervale dies, you may cast it from your graveyard as an adventure until the end of your next turn. Gentleman's Rise is the adventure. 2 and a black, instant adventure. Create 2/2 black zombie creature token. Kind of middling, but it's a 2-mana token lord, so it'll see play.
Hildebrand Manderville into the set. It was so important to be genuine to the fans because you can play the entire campaign of Final Fantasy XIV and not even see this lovable character. This card itself refers to his first chapter, The Rise and Fall of Gentlemen, where there are plenty of zombies, and Hildebrand is not dead after all. You can find Hildebrand and all the other scions in the Final Fantasy XIV Commander deck, led by none other than Y'shtola herself. where as you cast your non-creature spells with mana value 3 or greater, you're going to drain the table, draw cards, and continue controlling the game as long as you manage those cooldowns. Enjoy the deck, please.
Amazing. And whilst Ishtola's right here, I think it's a great time to touch base with another of our celebrity artists talking about their specific version of Ishtola.
自分がギャザリングの絵を描けるのっていうのがちょっとびっくりしまして、今回その両方のプレイヤーの橋渡しになればいいんじゃないかなと思っています。僕割とその油彩風というか厚塗りっていう方で絵を描くことが多かったんですけど、やっぱりそれってギャザリングとかからかなりインスパイアを受けていました。これはテイストとしてはそのファイナルファンタジーのその14のエフェクトの綺麗さとかちょっと目指してデザインさせていただきました。ヤシュトラは強い意志を持ったキャラクターなので、そこら辺が再現できるようにしたかったっていうところがあって、ちょっと人知を超えたような雰囲気を出せればいいかなっていうところで、少し凛々しい感じの雰囲気にしました。はい。
Obviously, there are loads of cards still to show you, Zakil. Let's start with that sweet version of Ishtola.
Yes, so here is main set Ishtola Ruel. She's a 6-mana 3/5 cat druid that has the ability at the beginning of your end step, blink a creature, and then if it is the first end step, you effectively take an additional end step. So you're able to gain advantage with creatures on the battlefield that have enter the battlefield triggers by blinking them. And then, just like the last Ishtola card that we showed at the face of the commander deck, also manipulate and use end step triggers to your advantage. So playing the main set Ishtola within the commander deck Ishtola deck is probably quite good. And you know, one of my favorite things about Final Fantasy 14 are the summons. What's up?
Yeah, so let's talk about one you all might recognize, Summon Primal Odin. If you've gone up against this in 14, you know you're in for a...
Primal Odin. 4 black, 4 a enchantment creature, Saga Knight. It's a rare from the main set. Gungnir is the first chapter. Destroy target creature an opponent controls. Chapter 2. Zensogen. This creature gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player. That player loses the game. Chapter 3, Hall of Sorrow. Draw 2 cards. Each player loses 2 life. Well, that second chapter is useful. The Elder Primal Odin has returned to Erzea.
A tough time. Odin likes killing stuff. Let's start with that first chapter. Blows up one of your opponent's creatures. That's neat. It's the second chapter where things get really gnarly. If you know Odin, you know you do not want to get hit by this attack. It will take you out. You'll take out your whole party. If Odin hits you during a second chapter, you lose the game. Do not get hit by Odin's second chapter. It is bad. If you survive that, if your creatures perhaps block by a little bit of time, you still have to contend with the third chapter where Odin's owner will draw 2 cards and make each player lose 2 life. Perhaps they'll even draw another Odin. Now, earlier I mentioned that there would be some job select equipment from Final Fantasy 14. So where are all my summoners at?
Yeah,
Perfect. Well, here is the Summoner's Grimoire, another job select equipment.
Summoner's Grimoire. 3 and a green for an artifact equipment. Rare from the main set with job select, which means that you get a 1/1 hero and attach this to it. Equipped creature is a shaman in addition to its other types, and as whenever this creature attacks, you may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. If that card is an enchantment card, it enters tapped and attacking. Abraxas, equipped 3.
So when this comes into play, you make a 1/1 hero and attach it to it. Now, whenever that creature attacks, you get to put a creature from your hand on the battlefield. So it's like a little elvish piper for your longtime Magic fans. But if it is an enchantment card, it enters tapped and attacking. So that enchantment creature like Odin will come in right away. One other tiny thing I want to call out is in front of the equip ability, you'll see what it says there, Abraxas. Well, that is actually the weapon that is shown in the art there. Just a little nod to the different weapons that are used. The Final Fantasy 14 team thought it'd be really cool to actually reference the weapons that are in the art for the 14 tied job select equipment. So you'll find that on the equipment in the set.
Much of the major narrative of Final Fantasy 14 is the metaphysical conflict between Hydaelyn and Zodiark. So today we're going to show you one half of that conflict with Zodiark, Umbral God.
Zodiac Umbral God is 5 black mana for a legendary creature God. With Indestructible 5/5, when Zodiac enters, each player sacrifices half the non-god creatures they control of their choice, rounded down. And whenever a player sacrifices another creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Zodiac.
He is a 5/5 with Indestructible God, and when he enters, each player sacrifices half the non-god creatures they control, rounded down. Now that's an interesting story element. If you're a Final Fantasy XIV player, you'll have to tell me if you think that is spot on to the story that Zodiac might be involved in. And here we can see the moment where I wiped every raid I was ever in doing this trial. I could not for the life of me remember this mechanic. I'm so sorry to everyone who was playing me. I was your Gunbreaker main tank, not using my cooldowns correctly.
I know there are people in the audience that are thinking, oh, there's one person from Final Fantasy XIV I'd love to see. Here he is, you thirsty people.
So, I mentioned before that you might find villains in the commander deck. Well, here's one.
Of the third seat, legendary creature Elder Wizard. Spells you cast from your graveyard cost 2 less to cast. Whenever one or more opponents lose life, you may cast a target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard. If that spell will be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. Do this only once each turn. With art from Magali Villeneuve.
Every Final Fantasy XIV player knows it's Emmett Selk. Now, the villains in the decks play on a little different axis. Emmett here will cast spells from your graveyard over time because Ascians know their history, but they will still trigger all of the non-creature matters cards in your deck.
Okay, here we go. 14's done. We're now moving on to 15. We are going like a rocket ship. It's again another great example of the way in which Final Fantasy has reinvented itself over the years. Dylan, what's the story?
So in Final Fantasy XV, we see this dramatic tale of epic war, political conspiracies, ancient magic, opposing kings, but ultimately it puts the story of friendship and camaraderie center stage. We follow Prince Noctis and his very best of friends, Ignis, Prompto, and Gladiolus, on a road trip across the modern fantasy world of Eos. And broiled in this conflict, we are going to go up against many cool monsters, cinematic boss battles, epic duels, but one of the biggest things that Final Fantasy XV left on me was just the very sense of time and pace. The slow, quiet moments you spend with your friends, pulling pranks at each other, making food at camp, discovering new recipes, listening to music while you're driving around. It does remind me a little bit of the four of us and how we kind of made this set. So I kind of have a soft spot for this. Excuse me if I start crying.
I'm also there as well. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's look at some cards, please. Zakil, take us through it.
Yeah, so Noctis is the main character from Final Fantasy XV, and his most unique mechanical ability is called Armiger, which allows him to wield...
Noctis, Prince of Lucis, is a legendary creature, human noble, 1 and an Esper. Has lifelink, is a 4/3. You may cast artifact spells from your graveyard by paying 3 life in addition to paying their other costs. If you cast a spell this way, that artifact enters with a finality counter on it. Many sacrificed all for the king, so must the king sacrifice himself for all.
The 13 royal weapons that come from his lineage that are depicted in his artwork. So his ability allows you to cast artifact spells from the graveyard as a nod to the Armiger ability. And also, take a look at this beautiful borderless artwork.
Let's look at Arden.
But of course, opposed to Noctis is the game's antagonist, Arden. And here we see celebrity artist Roberto Ferrari has captured his signature grin and his power.
Arden, the Usurper, 5 black for a legendary creature, Elder Human Noble, rare from the main set. Demons you control have Menace, Lifelink, and Haste. And Star Scourge. At the beginning of combat on your turn, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard. Creature card from a graveyard, even. If you exile a card this way, create a token that's a copy of that card except as a 5/5 black demon. And that's a graveyard, relevantly.
Over the Star Scourge. And we actually see that we use that as a flavor word because while you have Arden in play, you too will be making your own army of demons to take over the world.
Okay, that's Final Fantasy XV done. We're finally here, guys. Final Fantasy XVI has arrived. I don't remember any of it. Dylan, what happened?
So just to catch you up to speed, Ben, I don't know if you've heard of this game, but this takes place at Valisthea. It is the latest entry in the mainline Final Fantasy series, and it is one of the most dark and mature title as the franchise has seen thus far. It tells this gritty and grim tale of magic and explores the notions of free will. We are introduced to our protagonist, Clive Rossfields, when he is but a young boy. And we watch him grow over decades of in-game story as he turns into the epic hero who shall deny fate itself. And as we all know in this game, the summons are of paramount importance because Clive is someone known as a dominant, that who harbors the ability of the summons, the icons inside of them. And in the game, our heroes turn directly into their summons. I wonder if that sparked any good design ideas?
Well, it certainly did. And this is actually quite an interesting story because, well, we've been working on the set for 4 years. We said that earlier. Well, as we all know, this game came out 2 years ago. So it came out during the development process of the set. So we actually had a weekend when the game came out, and we just all started playing and trying to figure out, okay, what could go in, what could go in? This card, this card, this card. It was a great time.
Massive call out. Zakiel was always 2 hours ahead of me and Daniel, and we were like nonstop playing. My wife is here, she can confirm I was not sleeping at all. And somehow he was always ahead of me. I have no idea how you were just so... It was a wild weekend. Our group chat exploded with like 1,000 messages every single night. Like, this is an awesome concept. This could be a card.
You have to get this character in there, right?
I totally missed that quest. I have to go do it, so...
Okay, guys, be quiet. I want to talk now. Okay. God, we get it. You played the game. I was in it.
Yeah.
Listen, I think it's time that we previewed some cards, and I know what you all want to see. But first, let's see a character that is incredibly important to Clive in this story.
Yeah, so this is Jill, Shiva's dominant. This card shows off all of her icy powers. So on Jill's side, she comes in and unsummons a creature. Then
Jill, Shiva's dominant. Legendary creature, human noble warrior. When Jill enters, return up to one other target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. 3 blue, and tap, exile Jill, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. She's a 2/2. Transforms into Shiva, Warden of Ice. Yes, Shiva got a rare, thank goodness. And Shiva, Warden of Ice, legendary enchantment creature, Saga Elemental, 4/5, with Mesmerize for Chapter 1 and 2. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Chapter 3, tap all lands your opponents control, exile Shiva, then return it to the battlefield. There you go.
when she transforms into Shiva, she will make one of your creatures unblockable twice. Then she will tap all of your opponent's lands. They cannot stop you. And then unlike other summons that go away, she goes back to Jill, re-triggering that Enter's ability to unsummon and continue using those icy powers.
Okay, now this is the moment you're all waiting for. This is the moment that I've been waiting for 2 hours. You want to see the Clive card?
Dirt.
I have been sweating under that thing for 2 hours for this exact moment. Let's see it on the screen.
So here we have...
That's a pretty good art.
To be clear, that is the correct reaction. Yes. So here we have Clive and Ifrit. We
Clive, Ifrit's dominant. 4 red for a 5/5 legendary creature, human noble warrior from the main set. When Clive enters, you may discard your hand, then draw cards equal to your devotion to red. And for 6 mana, exile Clive, then return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Ifrit, Warden of Inferno, is a 9/9 legendary enchantment creature, Saga Demon. With Lunge, Ifrit fights up to one other target creature. And chapters 2 and 3, 4 red. If Ifrit has 3 or more lore counters on it, exile it, then return it to the battlefield, front face up. Yeah, that's pretty good.
We knew we needed an epic card, and so that's exactly what we made. On the front side, Clive, of course, has Devotion to Red. Of course, it is the only devotion card in the main set, but it fits his character so well. Who else would be so devoted to red as Ifrit's dominant? Then, when you're ready, perhaps the turn after you play him, you can pay 6 mana, flip him over, he fights a creature right away. Bam! Ifrit shows up. Time for that epic boss battle. Then, you get some mana the next turn. A turn after that, he flips back to Clive, if your opponent's even still alive by then. And you get to do the whole discard your hand and draw up again before preparing to turn him back into Ifrit. So, you know, pretty powerful combination of abilities here. Wouldn't you say, Ben?
I would say he's very cool. I would say he's the best one. You know, don't take my word for it. Okay, guys, that's it. We have done 16 mainline games, but I know, are you excited for this? Zakil, when can we get our hands on all this Final Fantasy goodness?
Yeah, so Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy releases globally on June 13th with pre-releases starting on June 6th. Now, if you're a Final Fantasy fan who has never played Magic before, I suggest you start with the starter kit, which comes with two 60-card decks that are pre-constructed along with a learn-to-play booklet and digital download codes to play on Magic Arena. We also have our Play Booster, which includes all of the cards that we previewed today, everything that is standard legal, as well as the Final Fantasy Through the Ages bonus sheet. Now, the additional products that we have here, as Daniel mentioned, are the 4 Commander decks that are focused on individual games, 6, 7, 10, and 14. You can relive these games if you played them before, or learn about them if you never have. They're some of our favorites, and we think that they're such an amazing product. We also have our collector SKUs in the collector commander decks, which are the same mechanical identity of those commander decks, just available in 100% foil, as well as our collector boosters, which include all of the mechanical cards from the main set, many from the commander decks, and the awesome, amazing treatments such as the golden chocobo. Here's our complete product suite, including the beautiful gift bundle featuring Ifrit and Bahamut from Final Fantasy XVI. And again, this set releases globally on June 13th with a variety of play events, starting then, running through the remainder of that month, and MagicCon Vegas, along with Pro Tour Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy on the weekend of June 20th.
And of course, if you're a digital gamer, Final Fantasy is also coming to Magic the Gathering Arena with 3 different bundles you can pick up. The first, of course, is the pack bundle. You might be wondering, Gavin, why is it called the pack bundle? Well, great news. It comes with 50 booster packs, 5 golden packs. You get this cool VV sleeve, the VV version, all kinds of awesome stuff going on there. Let's go on to the next bundle called the Pass Bundle. You might be wondering, why is this called the Pass Bundle? Well, this comes with Clive, comes with Noctis, comes with cool sleeves for both of them, and you get access to the Mastery Pass. Now, the Mastery Pass will let you unlock those awesome chocobos for Jason Tronder we saw earlier. You get a regular chocobo at level 1, a Jace chocobo at level 25, and the Tronder chocobo at level 50. And then finally, we've got the Play Bundle. You can imagine why it's called that. You get tons of tokens to go play in drafts, plus you get Kefka, Terra, some accoutrement for them, and my personal favorite, the Moogle companion that can hang out with you in a game, and who doesn't want a Moogle hanging out with them? You can go pre-order that on Magic the Gathering Arena right now.
Amazing. So moving on. Let's get you even more hyped than you are already with this amazing trailer.
Yes.
I've been waiting for this. I'm ready as I'll ever be. Final Fantasy is coming to Magic the Gathering.
Hold on. What was that? What was that? A Realm Reborn.
Is coming to Magic the Gathering.
A Realm Reborn. 4 green. Other permanents you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. Enchantment. Okay.
Draw swords.
Really? You gave me like 0.2 of a second to find that.
Draw swords.
Crystal Chosen. 5 blue for an uncommon sorcery. Create 4 1/1 color 0 creature tokens, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control.
Cast spells.
Wow, they really don't want you to read these, do they?
Draw swords. Cast spells.
Lord Master, Demon Noble Wizard with Starfall. Whenever it attacks, deals X damage to each opponent, where X is the number of non-creature non-land cards in your graveyard. It transforms from something.
Play heroes and villains from all 16 core games.
We knew that one. Okay, so that's the normal Art of Lightning.
People are depending on me.
We know you, Yuna.
Years I've waited for this chance.
Know about Balthier,
To shape your story.
Kefka, Cloud, and Sephiroth. Magic the Gathering, Final Fantasy.
You know what? I think there's still some people who might be on the fence about tucking into this, right? If there are, let's see if Stephanie can persuade those who might not want to get involved.
All right, folks. When you think of the essential ingredients of what makes Final Fantasy, what comes to mind? You've got your classics, your chocobos, summons, crystals. We're fans, we know all this. But there's one more thing that has been in nearly every game of the Final Fantasy series that we haven't quite talked about yet. Or should I say someone? It's Sid. Better yet, Sids. Because why settle for just one?
Okay, folks, this is how we're going to do it. Remember when I split the room up in two? That went well, didn't it? We're doing it again. Okay, this side of the room, I'm going to say a number. This side of the room, we're going to shout one word and one word only. And what word's that going to be? Six. You know it. We're going to start with 2, okay? Because that's when he first appeared. So it'll go something like this. We'll say a number. It'll start with 2 like this. Say 2 with me. 2. Six. Okay? You ready? Obviously, you're not going to say 2 the whole time. That would be insane. Okay? Don't. I think there's quite a few people watching at home. They're going to be so annoyed. We've just stayed on 2 for hours. Okay, are you ready with me? Here we go. 2.
Sid, Timeless Artificer, 2 white, blue, legendary creature, human artificer. Artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer in your graveyard. A deck can have any number of cards named Sid, Timeless Artificer, cycling white and blue. A legendary any number card. Okay.
Everybody, it has been absolutely awesome to spend time with you. I hope you've had fun. I hope you are going to spend lots of money on this. Please do. Thank you for coming. I want to thank the incredible panel, Gavin, Zakil, Daniel, Dylan, Stephanie. I've been your host, Ben Starr. You've been amazing. Thank you for coming.
Where'd you even get that from? Alright. Alright. Yeah. This looks like it's going to be a heck of a set. I'm most excited for 7, obviously. Chocobos look great. Ishtala, something I want to pick up. Terra, something I want to pick up. That will be an expensive uncommon for Sid. There will be a stream later today as well. This one was kind of an impromptu because I thought this was on the 13th, actually. But yeah, thank you everybody so much for joining me. Hope you're as excited for this set as I am.